I don't want to get into it.
And ain't nobody gonna stop me.
Front yard both times.
Fucking bath towel boy over here.
Fuck. Listen. You think Biden has no role in the gas prices? I gotta know.
I would say the president has a role in anything and everything, right?
Yes.
They can get involved in anything and everything, but you have to choose your battles wisely.
So you don't think shutting down the Keystone Pipeline played any role in our gas prices shooting through the roof?
What about Republicans voting down legislation to allow big oil companies to not price gouge? Because their dividends wouldn't then be the same that they would normally get with that kind of income or revenue.
With what kind of income? With price being so high?
The dividends that they would get from the price of oil.
Yeah, but oil's always fluctuated, right? But it's always fluctuates when, unfortunately, Democrats are in office. It always goes higher. Those are just facts.
I don't know those facts. See, that's the thing. I can't. I would have to see the numbers. I would have to see that that's a true fact.
All right.
And you just saying it's a fact is not making a fact, by the way.
Okay, well, let me just drop just a little knowledge, and you can take it for what it is, you know. But Democrats, when they're in office, okay, I shouldn't say shut down completely, except Biden, but they lower oil. They do a lot less drilling, and I have people, family, all that who work in the oil field, so I know how often they're on and off, how to find different jobs, whatever. Democrats, they always get, they always have to find a new job. And then Republican, they're always back in business. We're always drilling for oil, coal, gas prices are down to $2.50. And then Democrats come in. When Obama was in, it was like $4, right? Trump comes in, goes down to $2.30.
Does Biden control the worldwide gas prices?
No, but if we can create our own, then we don't need to get oil from Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. Not as much.
Does our oil here stateside, is it estimated that it would cover the needs and the demand across the entire nation? I'm asking that. I actually have no idea.
I don't know 1,000% on that, but probably majority. We have oil fields. They have tons in Texas, Wyoming, Alaska is the biggest. The Keystone Pipeline is the biggest pipeline in the entire world, right? And we shut it down.
What was the reason for that?
I don't know. Clean fossil fuels, natural energy, blah, blah, blah. But what no one realizes is that oil is clean and it's always producing. The earth produces oil. It's the most natural thing we can do. They want to put on we have to do this and this and this, and it's so bad. But if you look at making a battery for an electric car, that is more harmful to the environment than any oil could be over 100 years. And you guys can look up, research, do whatever you want, but those are just the facts, right?
Yeah, but I'm reading quickly here, and it was like it dates back to the Obama administration, but then also there was a spill over 378,000 gallons were spilled.
Yep.
So you got to understand that environmental impacts are going to make
but that was back when Obama was there, and then we had Trump.
That was 2019.
What spill? Are we talking the big spill? Because that was back
2019.
That was back when we were in fucking Chicago, P. When they had that big spill by what's it called? What's that green company? The gas company. Remember, P?
Oh yeah, I do remember. Who the fuck was that?
BP.
Yeah, BP. Yeah. They had a big oil spill, whatever, in the ocean, whatever. But when Trump was here, say what you want about the dude, right? Twitter game, blah, 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 right? But facts are unemployment was all-time low. All-time low, right? Gas, $2, $2.20 on a bad day.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, but
and the economy was booming, right?
Real quick,
Yeah,
you
yeah, but
just
look at us
glossed
now.
over. You just glossed over my one point that I made, and
Yeah, but
it's like
you had
that
an
was
oil
when
spill.
Trump was in
Okay,
office.
okay, we had an oil spill, but yeah, but did that affect gas prices?
It so here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to say because we could go down a honestly probably 50 avenues for everything that we say
I just
because
want to go down one.
but here's the thing because you want to focus on gas prices and that's fine because that's one
Well, I
variable.
mean, we're about to go into
Hold on.
depression, Bug.
Just hold on. You want to go down one variable of the millions that take place every day in everybody's life of everything that we do and why we do it and how we do it.
Okay.
What I'm saying is one of the hardest jobs, whether you're Biden or Trump or Obama or a Bush or a Clinton, one of the hardest jobs in the entire world is being president. And that's because you can make a decision that can yield 1,000 benefits, right? But you have one negative and that's all people focus on. And that's like the shitty part. And that's why that's kind of why you put on the belt.
Biden has
right?
one negative is a little naive, but
But okay, well I'm saying Trump probably had more than one negative. But what I'm saying is that you sometimes make decisions that are what you think are the best for maybe it's the environment, maybe it's the economy, maybe it's for the people. And there's no
Sometimes
there
for
will
yourself.
never be a perfect president. There will never be a perfect president.
But there can be the worst president we've ever had, which is currently in office.
I don't know enough about every president that's ever stood office to like have a say on that or a debate on that.
Well, that's just personal opinion. And I don't know every single fact, but in the past.
So you're saying that in regards to the decisions they made, what about moral decisions or ethical decisions?
Yeah, those are all in factor. That's why I don't like him. I'm not a big politics guy. Like I never have been.
There's a lot of people that have made some shitty fucking decisions. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Like Nixon when he took us off the gold standard. And he took us off that, so our dollar gets inflated whenever the fuck it wants. And also giving out stimulus checks inflates the entire fucking country for what? To give you $1,000, which we pay into big corporations, which feeds the fucking richer. So then we don't do anything. We don't feed our economies because half of our small businesses shut down because of COVID, and we locked down the entire nation, which killed what 0.1% of the population.
So those people don't matter?
Not in the grand scheme of things, no. If you're going to lock down people, and then what happens when we go into recession, and then we go into nobody has jobs, and then they live off the government, and then people die because they're starving, and we let in all these illegal immigrants, which take jobs and food off the table. And then what happens when we go further down this hole? We've seen it happen in history, and then people die because of that. I would rather, okay, well, let's just put this. Do you think the vaccine is safe? Because I don't think the vaccine's safe. There's so many problems with it. There's been how many stillborns? Yeah, but those have been tested over like 50, 60, 100 years now.
With far less technology.
Yeah, and then we do this over technology. Like, okay, well, they shut down like the flu vaccines if they killed 20, 25 people, and they divvied this out and still killing. They said, oh, well, you have the vaccine. Oh, you're not going to get COVID. Oh, wait, no, actually, you're going to get it. Oh, it's actually people who aren't. If you're vaccinated, you can still get it and you can still pass it. But it's the people who aren't getting vaccinated. They're the problem. So we're actually going to blame. Right.
You're taking this from one angle. You're taking this strictly from one angle. You're not looking at it from all angles here. Like you could argue the fact that, and the difficult thing is you can't provide proof. So if I never got vaccinated and I got COVID, which I did, I had hardly any, I was tired. Who's to say if I wasn't vaccinated, I could have more severe symptoms? No one can say yes or no to that. Like I could have had the exact same symptoms, but we don't know that because there's not another me out there to be a test subject.
Yeah, but there's just facts though. You could have got maybe more sick, but the death percentage is still the same. You're saying
facts when they're not facts.
Yeah, but the death percentage is still the same.
Everything you say is a fact.
Yeah, but the death percentage never changes though, right? People who vaccinated, unvaccinated, right? Whether you got
I wanna
sick
see the
or
numbers.
not, right?
Where are the numbers?
I mean, check whatever CDC websites, whatever you want, check them out.
But you
Right?
also got to take in all the dozens of variables of what was that person's health like before they got it. Like, there's plenty of like religious leaders or other people are like, oh, I'm not going to get the vaccine. Like, I can just, whatever the fucking rich ass religious dude was like, we got to burn this vaccine or we got to burn this disease with heat, fire. And like, and he's doing this
Yeah.
whole fucking thing. And then he gets COVID or like this person swears by COVID's bullshit and then they get it and then they die.
Okay. But
And then they wish they would have got the vaccine when they were on their deathbed, right?
yeah,
like,
but
you
we're
say
at a
the
point now
facts,
where,
but they're not facts.
well, hear me out, right? So we're at a point now where the facts have gone. We've gone through our, point of our COVID and our lockdowns and stuff like that, our masks, find out things work, which ones don't work, which ones doesn't matter, right? We went through that. We're at a point now where we're kind of on the other side, right? We agree or no?
Sort of. I mean, there's some flare ups and stuff like that, but yeah, it's definitely tamer.
Okay. I mean, the death rate, though, still, if you are under 40, it's 99.9996% chance of living if you're under 40. Vaxxed, not vaxxed, right? Didn't change. If you're over 40, it goes 99.6. Okay. To 65. And then it gets a little bit steeper, right? But now, I don't know. I just didn't like it because I didn't like all of the stuff coming out. I don't like how quick they pushed it. Biden saying, hey, you have to. We're going to lock everyone down, right? On nothing's been proven. Nobody
But that was also, but that wasn't just Biden. There's other people that were in play there, and
Yes.
he's getting advice from other people.
Yes.
And I even know, like, I'm right across one county line, and this county that I'm 5 minutes from says you got to do this, and this county says you don't. So there's a lot of like spider webs through it. But going back to your 99.6, right?
Yeah.
So my question was, and this is where I can't call them. You can call them facts based on the information given, which I know that's what a fax is, right? A fact is.
Yes.
But take so say all those people under 40. Let's just say an even split, 50-50. 50% got the vaccine, 50% didn't. What if those 50% that didn't get or that did get it, what if they didn't, they would have died, right? Like what if like the vaccine for some it prevents it, for some it weakens the symptoms to where hypothetically, 10 people, we'll just say 10 people under 40 that did get the vaccine would have died if they didn't get the vaccine. We don't
Okay.
know that because we can't test that.
Right. But you can also say the same thing for them giving it to young boys who then have heart trouble now, which is a thing, which have died from the vaccine. Right? They're trying to sweep it under the rug, but it's tough to do. Like, you could say the same thing on that side, right?
True.
And there's all these what if variables, but my whole point of all of this is you can't force everyone to do what you want to do, right? If you want to say, hey, yeah, whatever, you're pro-abortion, not against abortion, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. You can't force people to do what you want them to do just because you think it's right, right? So you can't also force people to get the vaccine and shut down everything and basically turn the media and everyone against people who are unvaccinated. And you know what I mean?
Did they really force everyone like Kyrie Irving?
They tried to. Biden tried. Did you not hear on the news? He was forcing it all the time. He said, I don't know how many mandates he was trying to force. They'd never passed, but he was trying to force 3 of them.
I would
within
say that
6 months that they got knocked down, but he was like, hey, you have to get vaccinated. You have to. He was pushing it every fucking day on the news.
And I think in hindsight, he should have said you should, like based on his recommendation, which I agree with. You don't You don't try to force people to do stuff. And the other side of it too, though, is like in 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, COVID could still be around, right? It's not like it's just going to disappear, just like the flu or the common cold or whatever. But I
Right.
think that back when people were getting, you know, all these other diseases, right? And well, maybe call it polio, whatever you want to pick one, right? That is so like very vague or not vague, very rare now.
Yeah.
Is
SARS,
you come out with a vaccine and
swine
then you
flu.
improve it and you improve it and you improve it and you learn and you improve. So to me,
Yes.
I
But you
think
don't shut down the
maybe
economy. They've never shut down
but
for any of those. Swine flu, SARS. Nobody's
but
ever shut down the entire nation for one and collapsed the economy for it.
maybe they should think of the bubonic plague that wiped out so many fucking people. And maybe they should have, but like you're living in a different time. You're living in a different economy, a different
Yeah.
structure. My whole thing is, yeah, maybe they rushed it. Maybe they should have done a little bit more research. Maybe there was a panic mode. But I think it's good that they are doing what they're doing and trying to. I would like to assume they're still trying to improve it, make it better, make the boosters better, make it all better so that down the road it's not as scary to people that to get a vaccine or to get a booster because we learn so much every day, every
Yeah.
week, every year, every decade. So
You
I think
do.
of all those other vaccines that you get, it's when you're born now, it's almost like to some people, there's still people who are like, I don't want to do that to my baby. But for a majority of people now, I would have to think the percentages have increased when their kids born that they yes, this is recommended. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because of all the proven stories, all the proven tests, all the proven medical research that's done. We're just unfortunately the origin story for
Yeah, we're the
COVID.
guinea
We're
pig
not
for
coming
sure.
into COVID. Our kids are probably going to have a different take on it because of the substantial research and evidence and trials that have been done from 2020 to whenever that is, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a sticky situation
It
because we
is.
came into it as the origin story.
Yeah, we're the guinea pig, and I understand. I mean, you can't prepare for everything, but I mean, just stuff coming out about it. I'm just happy that I never got vaccinated. I just a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stillbirths, a lot of a lot of women would miscarry. Like those percentages went way up. I mean, it kind of is what it is at this point. It just sucks. I mean, Australia, they were on lockdown. They got forced into their homes, right? They couldn't do anything, and 96% of Australia got vaccinated, and yet they still were one of the highest rated ones to pass around COVID, right? So, I mean, to me, that just says, maybe it doesn't work, you know? And to force
But
everyone
again,
and to shut everyone down.
the only
Like,
thing I challenge with that is yes, it still spreads. Like my own house, crazy story. My son came home from daycare, tested positive for COVID, right? I was the only one that got it
yeah,
from him. My wife was literally like, I just want to get it over with and have my whatever period of immunity because I don't want it to be 2 more weeks that we're locked down.
yeah,
She basically assumed she was going to get it from me or from our son. And she just said, like, give me a kiss, do whatever you need to do because that way we're locked down for 14 days versus I test positive in 7 more days and it's another 7 more days we're locked down. That was her mindset. She never got it. My daughter never got it.
yep,
Maybe the vaccine worked. Maybe in my little tiny sample size, right?
yeah,
Maybe it worked because she never got it. And trust me, like, I'm not saying I was like spitting down her throat, but
yeah,
like she was like attached to me and I'm like, I'm trying, like I can't do
yeah,
this. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. Like, so I'm just saying,
yeah.
it's just hard for me to like I
Well,
can honestly, I am very decisive on certain things and other things I can see both sides. Like I am very uh fluid in my mindset in regards to being open minded, but still having a
yeah.
decision and still having a thought on things.
Right. But, and I love having these discussions and there's nothing, against that. And I'm glad, we are able to have this discussion really.
Oh, for sure.
But, one of my things is like I'm very open minded about things, but I also am very firm on what I believe and what I believe to be true. And I look at things, and I try to see things what they are, right? And, with vaccine, I mean, that's one case. I mean, I drank a beer after, P when he had COVID and I didn't get it. I didn't get it till way later, right? P got it and was out miserably for like a couple weeks. And we're in a golf cart sharing a beer. Like the day before he was like out for like 2 weeks, right? And I didn't get anything, not for like months. Right? So
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
you also got COVID light. Like it didn't affect you as much as it affected me.
Yeah.
And even kick my wife's ass for a good 3-day period.
right? So I
But I
mean,
would say there's like a solid week where I was just useless.
oh yeah. P was struggling walking up the stairs. He'd call me like out of breath. I was like, "Let's game," and he's like,
It was terrible for me.
Yeah.
It
That's
sucked.
the weird thing about this is I've worked with and I've known people that have been both vaccinated and unvaccinated, and in both scenarios have had minimal side effects or terrible side effects. So like that's why it's just like I just don't think we know enough yet, and
We
that's why I
don't.
think, why I
Yeah.
think it's like they just wanted to try to, and
But
I don't know enough about
that's my
medicine.
point though, right? They don't know enough to force it down everyone's throat, cram it down everyone's throat, force it down media, CNN, ABC. Like everyone's forcing it down you. It was basically like a shun
But
to
you
people who weren't vaccinated, though. Like for real.
but you can't make your own decision.
Well,
People
here's
can't
where
make their own
that
decisions.
that
No,
gray
I
line is
can.
where they tried to shove it down people's throats are like the healthcare people who are like, if you don't get vaccinated, you lose your job, and you
Yeah.
had to decide to lose what you've worked your entire life for over
Yeah.
this test.
Yeah. If
Vaccination.
you were over what 50 or 100 people, I can't remember. You had to get vaccinated.
Well, then a lot of like
Companies.
private businesses, they have the right to employ and fire whoever they want. So if that particular person decided, hey, if you're not vaccinated, then you can't work here, and then it's just like your whole life goes crazy over this particular subject of vaccinated, and your free will gets questioned because it's like, well, I can make a stand and be like, no, I can always do something else, and so your freedom technically is not challenged. Like you still have the freedom to decide to do it or not, but it's with consequences.
Yeah, like
And that's
for the nurses
why I
who
don't
were
think
around
it's right.
working in the COVID stuff, giving people shots, if they weren't vaccinated, they got fired. Like, how fucked up is that?
So
And it
I
happened
think
all
and
over the
teachers.
nation. Teachers, healthcare, anyone in the healthcare, if they were like, no, I don't know what this vaccine does, I'll give it to people and I will risk getting COVID, but I don't want to take the vaccine. They got fired for their nursing stuff, which takes years and years of schooling, by the way. They just got fired and put out of their jobs on the street because they didn't want to take a vaccine. And that is fucked up to me. That's taking away our rights as like people. Like just because the president or the media or the government says that you should, they say, yeah, you should. It should be hey, you should do it. Like, hey, you should drink water every day. Like
Yeah,
you should. But they can't force it down people and be like, hey, you're fired. Oh, if you're over 100 employees, then you have to do it, or else, we're going to find your company so much that basically forces them to either go out of business or fire the people who aren't vaccinated, which to me is so fucked.
Yeah, and I'll go back to my agreements with you that you shouldn't. Okay, so
And
you
that's the whole
shouldn't.
point of this conversation, by the way.
Well, no. So there's two different ways to this, right? There's breaking the law, and then a new variable coming into play that we don't understand, right? So you shouldn't break the law. You can, but there's consequences.
What
You
law though?
shouldn't.
What law?
No, I'm just saying in general, any law, right? I'm just saying like you shouldn't kill someone, you shouldn't steal,
Yeah.
you shouldn't whatever, right?
Yes.
So even the law is you still have a choice, right?
Yes.
And this is me going back to I do agree with you shouldn't force people to have to do things.
Yes.
You shouldn't. And I do agree with that. And I think it is shitty when you have no choice. Now, technically you always have a choice, but yeah, if that means I give up, like if I go to if you're like a sales rep, right? And your company is forcing you to get the vaccine or you're fired. Well, you have the choice to get the vaccine or not. And if you really don't want to get it, maybe that's not the company for you. There's plenty of other sales
Yeah.
jobs, right? Maybe that's just not the leadership I want to be a part of. However, if you are a
True.
nurse or a doctor and you have a specified degree,
Yeah.
I can see
And that's
the very
nationwide.
troublesome conversation of, look, you can be a nurse or not. Like
Right.
that's pretty tough. That's I don't necessarily think that's okay. And I think that there should have been a further discussion upon that on finding alternative measures, right? For professions that
Yes.
were so specified. Like if you're in sales, I could sell IT for thousands of companies. Like I sold for a company here where I'm from, and now I sell for a company in New York. I don't fucking live in New York. And like my options are not endless, but pretty fucking vast, right? So if I wanted to take that stand, it was a little easier decision for me than a nurse who spent however many years, to get their degree. And now you're like, well, now I can't be a nurse until like shit changes. Like that's kind of shitty. And
Yeah,
I get that.
it's fucked.
So that's where I do agree that, you know, and that's why I brought up the law thing is the law is supposed to say, no, don't do this. Like the example of telling someone not to do something, you still have a choice.
Yeah.
This over here that we're talking about, you do have a choice, but there's a lot more parameters involved and repercussions for making those, decisions. Like,
Yeah,
well,
but
you can leave
but for
the
what though?
hospital.
Like there wasn't anything like nobody, was out fucking shooting up their work. Like nothing
No,
crazy was happening.
I'm agreeing.
Like
Yeah, I'm agreeing with
You
you in
know what
that.
I mean?
I'm trying to agree with you in that stance that, I'm trying to give a comparison of we literally have laws that say don't do this, but people
Yeah.
still do this, right?
well, yeah, people
This
still
is
murder people.
totally
Yeah.
different. This is totally different where you're asking people to completely change their life.
Yes.
That
And
isn't breaking the law.
it's just not fair, right? And
No, I agree.
the repercussions of that though is you put small businesses out of business, right? And that's a lot of the nation, right? Small businesses. There's big companies, but they're still around. But there's, I don't know what the percentage is, but so many small businesses went out of business. Now they're not doing anything, right now, and all their employees gone. Had to find work. And then you overinflate the economy by giving stimulus. They want to give one more. But listen, and you can't just take everyone's jobs away from them because the government or whoever thinks it's the right thing to do. And then you take everyone's jobs away and you're like, oh, I'll give you,
First of all,
here's a little stimulus check, right? Now,
I'd be
hold on,
careful
hold on,
with
hold
that.
on.
I'd be careful with the word everyone because that doesn't apply here. Just to be clear, you're not taking everyone's jobs away.
No, but small
So-
businesses, a lot of them, right?
But other things put small businesses out of work too.
Yeah.
Like you can't just say COVID put all small businesses out of work.
No, but that was something that was forced upon them and it wasn't their decision whether to work hard or, get with the right vendor or whatever they wanted to do, right? That's their choice to do, their stuff to figure out, but forcing people to not have customers come into their restaurants or their bars or, their place of work or whatever the case is to buy product, which they normally have. If you force everyone into lockdown and you can't go out to do that, then you take away their ability to run their business, right? So not everyone, but it closed a lot of businesses. And then what that does is it puts stress on the economy. And then not as many people working, more people need food, and then you just see the slow decline go downhill. And then now look where we're at. Gas prices through the roof. Now that puts a stress on food, right? Now truckers cost more money to bring food. Now food is more stressful coming back and forth. Food is a little bit of a shortage. We have a baby formula shortage. Now we're not heading in a good direction. Can we all agree upon that?
Overall, though, a lot of it's worldwide.
It's not just here. That was going to be my point.
Yes,
Is
but they
you
all
know,
were on the COVID lockdown, is what I'm saying, right? And
but I guarantee, and I wasn't prepared for this, so I don't have a direct example, but I remember like some countries, thriving with the lockdown and having seriously low percentages of COVID outbreak and doing fine now, right? So,
which
you know,
which
I
which
and
countries? The only ones that I can think
that's
of are the
that's what I
ones
just said
that
is I
didn't
didn't
have a COVID lockdown mandate. The only ones that are thriving that I personally know of are the only ones that are doing okay.
well,
That
that's what I
didn't have
said.
the
I
lockdown.
didn't
It
know we
just
were
said
going to be
live
going down this
business
path.
as usual, right? And I know
So I didn't really prepare for this conversation. But the other side of it too, going back to jobs, I would love to see the numbers everywhere I go. And I'm going to start small, right? I'm going to start fast food. Everywhere I go, now hiring, 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 hiring. And I think there's pride that gets in people's way. You wanna live off unemployment. You wanna like there's a mindset tied to this as well. I think a
yes,
lot of people saw this as an advantage, like
yes,
to where I don't have to work. I can live off the government. There's plenty of jobs out there. When
yep.
when we say and I feel for people that are small business or they started their own business and they were fucking booming, right? And they were like, I see growth. I see growth. This is our grind. Our 24/7 grind is finally showing face. And boom, we get hit with this bomb,
Yeah.
right? I feel for those people. Do not get me wrong. I have compassion, empathy, because I've seen people build businesses from the ground up, and it's not
A lot of
easy at
it's
all.
tough. Yeah, tough work.
So the other side of it, so I'm going to set those people over here, right?
Yep.
It's the other people, and I'm not saying any demographic, any social status, anything. I'm just saying there's the podcast I listen to here locally, there is a shit ton of jobs from
Yeah.
fast food on up available here where I live. So when people complain about not being able to get a job, it's because you're not fucking trying. Like my brother-in-law,
Because they're
when
getting paid
COVID
from
hit,
the government though. Free money.
right? But
Why
but
would you
but
work if
here,
you
here
get free money from COVID money and the government just says, "Hey, we'll pay you to chill and do nothing."
but unemployment. Okay, so don't COVID money
Right?
that ain't gonna make you fucking survive for a year.
No, but
Let's be honest.
this is what it led to though is our right
Hold on,
now.
let me finish my point.
All right,
Hold
all
on.
right. I just want to say though
So
that you get more money now on unemployment than you ever have in your entire life. By the way,
so
just
unemployment is a whole nother discussion. And maybe it was stemmed from COVID, maybe it stemmed from inflation, maybe it stemmed from whatever. But I have a brother-in-law who works for FSN, what's now fucking what's it called? Whatever, Bally Sports. And basically they did all the, he was a photographer or a video guy and back end producer for all the Blues games and the Cardinals games and the St. Louis University and like all these like had never was out of work, always had plenty of work to do. Then COVID hit, sports shut down. He had nothing. So what did he do? He went out and he got a fucking warehouse job. So his family had medical insurance, so he had a steady paycheck and he fucking grinded. He was working 29 out of 30 days of every month. And he's now been able to cut that job, pass it off, don't have to do that anymore, and he's back to just full time working for the broadcasters, right? So that's the mindset
awesome, dude.
that I think is amazing, right?
Yes,
Then and there's probably
100%.
tons of stories out there like that.
Yeah.
And it just sucks that there's that mindset where like, would I love to win the lottery and win $300 million and just fucking like play games at 10 a.m. and work out what I want and like hire someone to make me amazing meals and just fucking travel and like of course I would. But
Yeah.
I also
Sit
want
in
to
a
have
hyperbaric
like
chamber.
yeah, that's like a whole different story from like well, I just want to live like a middle class, a lower middle class, whatever. I don't know what unemployment really what kind of lifestyle that gives you. I don't know enough about that. I know what lifestyle I have and like whatever, but like that's just
Unemployment is
people
paying
without drive.
more than what majority of people were making at the time. At least in the West Coast, unemployment is paying $1, sometimes $2 more an hour than people were making at their current job. So, of course, they're going to sit home. Right?
And I think that's a testament to not only our government but also
Yeah.
businesses, because I do know a lot of the fast food places I drive by that have now hiring are paying $1 to $2 less than Chick-fil-A,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or that, this place who
For
never
sure.
has an issue hiring, right? So
Yeah.
it's a
And
balance. It's
and
it's
we
all a
yeah, and
balance.
we can go, tit for tat on that. I was just, I'm just speaking like purely of like, okay, well, if you do that and make people be like, okay, well, I'm gonna sit home, right? Compared to go and work, what does that do to the economy? What does that do to the dollar? If you're just giving everyone free money for sitting at home, nobody's actually earning it at work because they don't make as much, so of course they're gonna sit home, right? What do you do to the country? What do you do to inflation? What do you do to the dollar,
But the
And
shitty thing is,
right?
like, if you were offered the exact same amount of money that you're making now to not have to work and stay home, like,
Take
how
care of
hard
your
is that?
kids,
Yeah, how hard?
well,
And not
and
only that, but take that money that you're doing that you would be making if you were working, but then you could even invest that
right?
money and time to potentially, maybe further your education,
Yeah.
right.
And you could,
stuff like
or
How do
that.
you
yeah,
So
you
fix
could,
that?
or
Like, how does and I don't know enough about this. Like, I've never, luckily, had to look into it, but like, is unemployment regionalized, or like because obviously out West Coast is the standard of living is a lot higher than where I'm at, right?
yeah.
Or East Coast or whatever. Like, I don't know how unemployment works. Is it
I
is
think
it
it's
is it
statewide.
yeah,
wide?
it's
Okay.
state.
Yeah, it's statewide. But I mean, in all the states, at least that I looked into on the West Coast, I didn't look much East Coast, but they were all paying unemployment wages like $1 to $2 higher than majority of that, average of the state or whatever. Even if it was like middle class jobs, right? They would be paying $1 to $2 an hour more, right?
Thing is, there's so many different ways. Like, you could take advantage of that. You can take advantage of it to be lazy and just get a free living,
And
or you could take
unfortunately,
advantage of it because it's available to you, and then you could,
do
like
something
I was
about it.
saying,
Yeah, you
do
could,
something
like you
with that
said,
opportunity. Because if
Yeah,
I'm gonna
anyone's
get a
gonna do it,
degree,
might as well do it. And
yeah,
then,
get a degree and come out stronger, bigger,
yeah,
whatever. Like,
yeah. And
so
P,
I
that's
that's
what
the
it
guess
is.
the awesome point, though, right? You could do that,
Mm-hmm.
but not everyone's built that way, and unfortunately, not people didn't do that, and they just sat at home and did the same thing, which we're creatures of habit.
Or, I mean, they could be doing exactly what I was saying though. There's no statistic or evidence to back
exactly.
that part up. So for all we know, 90% of the people took advantage of it in the right way to benefit later on. Unfortunately, with it happening, it's going to have the same effect, whether intent or not. Intent to be lazy or intent to further, it's going to have the exact same effect because it's happening.
Yep, right
Yep.
now,
So,
depression.
And they and say, like, for simplicity, 9 out of 10 unemployed people, to your point, P, are going back. They're getting an education, or they're getting a trade, or they're doing something that where they could come out of it making more than unemployment,
Five
right?
out of ten.
But when those nine, quote unquote, graduate and then move on and whatever, maybe there's 9, 10, 11 replacing their spot, right? And I know that's like a bad way of looking at it, because it's not like one in, one out, like at a bar when they're at capacity, but it's
yeah.
one of those things where, like, again, like you said, it's hard to like truly put true numbers to it when you don't know who's really furthering themselves, and then two, you don't know if like the influx is matching above or beyond the outflux of people getting out of employment versus people coming in, so on and so forth. So it's such a, like, it's got to be a super hard stat or something to like figure out.
It is, but at the same time, like the outcome to me is about the same, right? So whether they furthered or not, right, we're still going down the path as a country we are, and that means more companies are shutting down, right? Less businesses are open. That means less people are at work. So whether you have a higher education or not, I know a lot of people who went into school with a 4-year degree that ended up bartending. A lot of them, right? And that's
Mhm.
just the way it is. I mean, that's just the way the world works. But to my point is okay, you whether you took advantage of it or not, the economy's crashing, and it's been crashing, and it will continue as long as we keep doing the same stuff, right? unless we get back, build America, build jobs, quit outsourcing for everything, right? Unless we do that, but that takes people in business, and that takes people not at home, but it takes people working, because you can't just rely on, truck drivers bring me food, I'm getting free government money. Like if all the truck drivers quit and stop bringing food and gasoline and everything else, where would we be at, right? And then with
Well, let's picture this.
gas prices going up, like they're making a lot of people second guess.
The same scenario we were talking about small businesses. Let's say you dumped your life savings, all your assets, you're all in on this, and it was a successful plan until the pandemic happened, and then you found yourself business shut down, and now you are in that program of government assistance and getting unemployment. Like, that's a different type of scenario than I think that you're kind of putting everybody under, is just taking money and just sitting back, kicking back, and relaxing. Like, those people, they put it all into a business and then lost it, so they do need kind of a reboot, a reset.
Yes.
So those are the people that at the same time, yes, I see your point of like how it's tearing the country down, it's just putting our economy backwards, but you got to keep in mind that there's also those stories out there that helped those people that are willing and probably are ashamed that they have to take that money, but they're thankful that they have that assistance there to get them back on their feet, that are hardworking, and they will make the best of it.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, I 100,000% agree with you. I guess I'm just more mad that we were put in this position to begin with anyway, to shut down and put that hardship on those said people who were thriving, who were just busting ass every day, grinding, waking up, putting everything they had into their business, and then, hey, well, we don't know, shut everything down, right? And forcing everything, like forcing shit to happen. It just sucks for those people to be in that spot where,
But we know too, like, I don't know, for a fact, but like a 4-year term, you don't see the outcome of a 4-year term till probably after you're out of office.
How do we know that though?
It's not like it's because it's not like we're choosing like a wall color. Like, do I paint the kids' room blue or red? Like, it's not like an instantaneous outcome. But the other side of it too is our economy wasn't like.
Oh, it was the
if
best
we're going to argue
been in the past 75 years. Unemployment's been the lowest. You can Google whatever you want. I'll wait. Unemployment was the lowest it has ever been in the past 75 or 100 years.
So you're talking one thing, unemployment.
Yeah, that means people have jobs. Gas prices, low. Our economy was...
But there's more than just gas prices and jobs.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of other things. Like, people are worried about the environment and where we're going to be in 100 years. There's people worried about far other things.
Yeah, but nothing was taken away from that, though, right? None of those jobs were going away. Like, people were
But you always go back to jobs. You always go back to jobs.
Well, I mean, jobs as in, like, okay, environmentalists. What do you call them? Do they have a job, or is that their job? Or
But right? you're saying... You're saying that, like, we create more jobs, right? We're building this pipeline, and then we spill all this oil. We have multiple spills over the course of a 4-year term. And I know that wasn't up the president or one person that just fucking put a nail in and said, boop, boop, and then it just sprayed everywhere. But I'm saying, like, there's other impacts that come from choices we make that we have good intentions from. So we have a good intention to build jobs. That doesn't mean there's going to be a repercussion from doing that. Like, in the grand scheme of things, more jobs, more people working, more people like prospering, all good on paper. But that doesn't mean there isn't other effects that come from doing that. Because what are those jobs doing? What are we doing? What are we hiring? What are we creating? Are we then, and by all means, I'm not the best recycler. I'm not like a fucking massive environmentalist. Like, don't put me on that kind of thing. But what I'm saying is there's a repercussion for everything we do. You choose to go left, you're going to have a different outcome than if you go right. But who's to say left was a better outcome than right? But you impacted different variables in the world, in the economy, in the environment, in social status, in whatever. So like
That
that's
Yes.
my whole point is you could love Biden, love Trump, hate Trump, Obama, the Bush, like anybody, any president across the line.
Okay.
They have the hardest job and they're trying to make a decision. And sometimes it looks like, dude, were you on drugs when you made this decision? But they thought that the outcome was going to be here. And if they made the other decision, it was going to be here. And they got to weigh all these variables of what it's going to impact and how it's going to impact things. And that's fucking hard as hell because they're, you said earlier, Brad, like that 0.1% don't give a fuck about them. What if that was your mom? What if that was your cousin? What if that was your brother? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those people do
Okay.
matter to someone. So,
Yes.
in the grand scheme of things, you can't make everybody happy. You're not going to make everybody feel good at the end of the day.
Yes.
You could have the world's best president who had so many, like 90, they had a 90% out of 100 on everything they did, but they're still affecting 10%.
Yes.
But you would deem him as a great president, of course, but you're never going to make everyone happy.
No.
So just to entertain the argument and kind of just, I don't necessarily, this is my standpoint or anything, but just if I were someone that was going to counter what you had to say, Brad, a lot of what you're saying is economy, gas prices, and everything. What if I'm a person that doesn't really care about the money side of things, and I'm more worried about the environment and everything that the money side of things is, tearing up the environment, and that's what I care about. And a lot of people are on that side, and they're just saying like, holy cow, what are you doing XYZ, because that is doing nothing but killing all these animals and all polluting our oceans, polluting our waters, all that stuff. Like, I don't care about what my gas price is going to be. I don't care about all the dollars and exchange rates and all that type of stuff. Like, then that's where they stand. So I mean, that's not a
Yeah,
big deal.
I
Well, and
understand,
can I
but
build on that real quick?
okay.
Let me build on that real quick, and then I'll hand it over because like it was funny. I was watching the news, which was one of the rarest times I watch it like on TV versus finding it on my phone, and like with gas, they were talking about with gas prices and everything. Like I'm talking regionalized where I live, like very local so this is very small piece of the pie, but like 4th of July is like everybody goes to the lake or they go here, they go there, they go wherever. None of the like travel is projected to be any lower than it's ever been. So to P's point, those people do not like they can still afford. So part of it is they can afford the gas prices, they can afford these sorts of things, these luxuries. But to kind of build off your point, P, is the environmentalists, they're looking at when what do we need to do to get our gas prices under $2? Okay, we gotta I'm
Are
making
they,
shit
though?
up. No. So I'm making up a fake scenario. This is no basis behind it, but whatever we have to do to get our gas prices back to where they were, which if you look over historically, they're going to go up at something like the percentage was drastic. I'm not going to deny that, but I'm saying gas prices are going to continuously go up just from inflation and just from normal course of business, for lack of a better terms. But if we try to keep it at that steady rate increase that we've always had it, or say we've always had it, then and it's impacting the environment, at some point, whatever we do to keep that there, whatever we cut down or whatever we build or whatever we do, whatever, we're impacting our earth. So are we shortening our lifespan of our earth? So like all those things, do they really matter in the grand scheme? Because those people to P are saying they're worried about the environment. And like, if we have to pay a little bit more to give our earth 1,000 more years or whatever, I'll do it for the sake of future generations. And once again, no factual basis behind this, just trying to wonder and think, if I were an environmentalist, if I knew those facts and knew that knowledge, like, you know, what are we doing to our earth to keep it going and alive and thriving years and years to come, like P's saying? Well, maybe I spend a little bit more on gas, or maybe I cut down on my driving, or maybe I find a remote job, or maybe whatever the case may be, maybe I promote my company go remote. So we are driving less. So we're not spending as much on gas. And that doesn't apply to everything. I know Timbo works with animals. He can't like help an animal from his home when it's like at the clinic or whatever, or, you know, things like that. So that doesn't apply everywhere, but like what things can we do to kind of offset that is, you know, I
All
don't
right,
know.
I'm gonna really throw a wrench into it now.
Jeez.
I'm gonna
How
yeah.
many different
Oh, wow.
scenarios?
Oh, I got wrenches.
Brad's
I
getting
got
no
I got
chance
torque
here.
wrenches. I got
Jesus
crescent wrenches.
Christ,
You name
man.
it.
How many fake
So,
scenarios?
oh man, here's actually a kind of a real scenario. I don't have any facts to back it up, but you know it's real.
Yeah.
Here it comes. So outside of economy and everything, as far as like, you know, how you choose a president and, you know, where you stand behind him, where you don't, think about gay marriages and abortion laws. Like, they really have a huge influence, and a lot of that changes with who's in office.
Yeah, I don't agree with any of that. You should make your own fucking decision.
Yeah, see, exactly. But going with free will, like you're talking about, your free will gets taken away from you depending on that. Like Obama was like a huge movement in allowing, you know, gay marriages to happen. And that's just like, that's a fact.
Yeah.
You want to talk facts? Like, that was a huge fact.
Yeah.
And that's where importance lies to people. They don't care about exactly like, you know, your economy up and down, your dollars, everything like that. It's just down to your freedom to do what you want is challenged in different scenarios. And with
Yeah.
a certain party or a certain person, a certain president, open that up for you, something that you thought was a, you know, you should be able to do no matter what. And now he finally unlocked it for you so you can, and then immediately gets challenged with the next president. Like, that's what's tough right there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's different from, you know, what we were talking about, but there's your wrench.
Well, I mean, you know, there's been whatever. I mean, that's cool. Obama, you know, did allowed gay marriages. Probably the best thing he did, but you know, I mean, all right, take the fact of this, right? Let's just look at it this way, right? Let me put my tinfoil hat on real quick,
Oh,
guys.
go ahead, man. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a pee, but
By
I'm
the way, you do have to kind of like, we don't know what's to be in 100 years, 200 years, whatever.
No,
It's
we
like
don't
to
know.
some degree, you have to kind of like think of different variables and different objects and different things that could happen. So I know speaking in facts is the best thing because it's hardcore truth, but like,
Yes.
if you don't think outside the
Facts.
box and kind of wonder and like kind of predict and things like, I don't know that. I know you're very basic, you're very fact based, but you know, it's okay
Well,
to think outside the box.
Listen. I think outside the box all the time. By the way, my mind is very curious. I think of different things, but when it comes to things like people, you know, survival, the greater good, I'm very factual based. Yes. But when it comes to ideas like, you know, ideas for a podcast or like, you know, careers that I want to pursue, whatever, I'm, you know, or whatever, right? Listen, maybe you guys have a weird, you know, view of me or think, you know, whatever about me. It doesn't matter, right? Like, you look at history, okay? History repeats itself. And it will continue because it's just the way it is. It's just how we're made, created, you know, whatever the case is. We just always repeat the same shit throughout history on a base level. All right. There might be little fluctuations, you know, like we have freed slaves, right? You know, we'll progress as people, but there's always wars. There's always fight for power. There's always corruption. There's always good, right? I mean, just because we have environmentalists and we want to do the good of, you know, and save the environment doesn't mean there's not any crime now or not any robberies or not any killing, right? That stats actually go up when the economy is bad. And my fear of all this stuff is, okay, when we go into a recession, we go into all this stuff. Yes, maybe the environment gets better, but maybe not. Maybe we all fight against each other with my tinfoil hat on, and maybe we all go into a big civil war, and maybe we fucking destroy more of the environment because everyone's fighting for food, a place to live, the safety of their children. Like, if you try to fuck with any of your guys' kids, you're gonna fucking fight back. And if you don't have formula or don't have food to feed your kids, you're gonna go fucking find it for your kids, and whatever those consequences are. So if we don't have any food and our economy collapses, it doesn't give a fuck about any environmentalists or any clean waterfalls or any of this. Like, we're going to be depleting and killing ourselves. And we're not going to even get to a point of this unless we are stable as economy, unless we come together. But all this fighting between each other all the time, vaxxed, unvaxxed, Democrat, Republican, none of that matters in the big grand scheme of things. I just hate the media, and I hate, you're super far left wing, you're super far right wing. Like, at the end of the day, all you guys are my brothers. I fucking love you guys. I'm for the fucking people. I'm just trying to look out for the people and everyone's best interest, because I know, and I've looked at history and I've studied a lot of history, and the same things happen, and the same reason Rome collapsed, and they ruled over 1,000 years, and they had one of the best economies. They did highways, they did sewer systems. They're smart motherfuckers. They collapsed from the inside, is what we're doing right now. And I just don't like the direction we're headed. I don't like our leadership in the government. I don't like any of that. And yeah, we can focus on like little details, and that's fine. I'm not gonna fight you guys and say like environmentalists and I hate clean water and all this. And I know that a lot of big companies pollute our water. And I know a lot of corruption goes down. And there was just something on the news that said that that big companies were putting in water bottles of, they just barely, over the past 30 years, they just put down the percentage of chemicals that you were allowed to put in water from like 50% down to like 0.07. You know how big of a gap that is. And they said that probably, there's no facts yet because it just came out, but it led to probably cancerous stuff and a lot of diseases and all that.
I saw that.
Right. And that for environmentalists, that's just to your guys' point. I don't know. I guess I'm not like the biggest environmentalist, and I promise I'm almost done. But like, as an economy, it's just proven if we fail and we go into a depression, there's always a shortage of food. And right now, with our gas prices so high, we short our food. Not very many jobs are coming, and then we're already having riots. There's already these social media and media's plotting race against us at every fucking turn. Like the government and whoever else is forcing things and trying to take away all of our guns. If you take away our guns, it is a fact that the economy goes away, and they take away all your guns, and the government keeps all the guns, and then they rule over you, and that's how you become kings and dictators in every single country throughout history. And that's what I'm afraid of the most, is what's going to happen to us. And then at that point, the environment and whatever else that we're even talking about is fucked, because it's irrelevant, because at that point we're just survival, because they can force us to work whatever job that they want, how many hours. They can choose where we live. They can tell us what we can and can't do. And then we're just slaves. And we are the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I will be fucking damned if I let anyone take away any of my rights, that how many people in how many wars have died for so we could have these rights, for us to just fight against each other and kill each other from the inside, and then just ruin everything great that we've built.
Say that's the biggest thing, is that's the Second Amendment. Like when they're writing up the Declaration of Independence, like that was the second one.
And it's for tyranny.
You challenge one of the most
government.
immediate freedoms that the country is founded on, then it
Number
becomes very
two.
personal, because a lot of people have fought for those freedoms.
Yes.
So when you
Fought
immediately
and died.
challenge it definitely, brings up emotions in it. A lot of people will, they have significant others who believed in that so much that they went and served the country for it. And so it's almost like a slap in the face to them.
Yeah. And
when that comes up.
it should
So
be, you know?
one thing that I think is kind of sad is, the development of social media and technologies and how information is so readily available. And I mean, I think that's a good thing that information is readily available. I just don't like that the sources can interpret or can kind of funnel you one way or another.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Depending who you get it from,
Who owns
you can have the same
what social
same
media,
story.
like CNN, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You can have the same information, the exact same facts, exact same, analytics and everything. It's just the presentation of it can, send you left or right.
Yeah.
When that sucks already is that
And they
you're
do
going
influence.
left
They
or right.
have to, right?
I think that's where, I mean, obviously in a perfect world, you would have, especially within your own country, it's almost like it's our country, but it's a, 1v1 against ourselves.
Yeah, why do we even have two political parties, by the way? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's just another to your point. Like, what are we even doing?
I mean, just to have balance so that it didn't, if we only had one party, then it would lead into whatever this party's thinking and just went that way and you had no say with it.
Yeah.
But you could have plenty of different candidates, right? I just don't know why they're separating. To me, it's more separation or like you know what I mean? Like trying to split us, like trying to divide us. I don't know. To me, at least. Sorry.
So you said a lot earlier, Brad, and one thing I want to agree with is I have always been, and one of the reasons I fucking hate politics and why I more so like I try to just believe in what I believe in, like, and I agree with you, Brad, that I don't see why we need different parties because even within parties, there's differences.
Hey, we have independents now, right?
You could have a conservative republic, like you could have like so many different. I literally had 2 people come to my door tonight and we're wanting to put a flyer on my door about like this is what we believe in, vote for me, and I'm like, okay, so you say this, like, do you believe in this? And like it's just so I agree with you, Brad, in the fact that like I want the best for everything. I can see the left side, the right side, right down the middle, far left, far right. I can see everything. Like I don't, like you could put me in a political party and that's fine. You can classify me. I do not care. But at the end of the day, I can't say what I struggle with is people that say I am blue and I 100% only side with what blue says, or I am red and I only side with what red says. It's like, well, then you don't really have like free thought because you're just
your own opinion is gone.
You're conforming to whatever fucking this side or that side says.
Yeah,
and
that's why I don't really.
So that's where
I'm not
rooting for a team at that point.
And that's where I agree with you 100% because history does repeat itself. And like at the end of the day, like what I struggle with is the mindset of people that like there's some people of any social class. I don't care how high up you are, how low you are, what your ethnicity is, what your religious beliefs are. There's shitty people everywhere.
Correct.
I consider myself a pretty decent person and I've fucked up. I've done some stupid shit. Like nobody's perfect, right? But like at the end of the day, I learned from that so that I hopefully don't repeat that like history does and try to better myself, right? So like I think the funny thing when you were starting off and you're like, you're all my brothers, I love you guys all, like blah blah. I'm the same way. Like, and I'm glad we can have these discussions and agree on some things and disagree on others because, I'll go back, I'll poke the bear a little bit on the Second Amendment, right? We talk so much about the Second Amendment, right? But do we talk about the others? Do we ever talk about the others?
Well, yeah, I mean, freedom of speech. I mean, that's.
But let me. But
these are just the ones that they're trying to take away right now, right?
Well, hold on. Because and then I'll hand the floor over to you guys, and I'll come back in about a half hour. I'll come back about a half hour, right? I agree. I agree when I go through the amendments and I'm like, okay, those were written when?
1776.
Thank you. Has things changed since then?
Yeah, a lot.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So hold on. I don't think you take away the Second Amendment right. I agree people have the right to bear arms. However, my biggest thing is there are countries that have stricter regulations on things and have far less incidents. We'll take the
Like,
school shootings.
like
School shootings. Our percentage of
which
school
countries
shootings.
though?
Any.
Once again, yeah, any like honestly,
We're the
like
highest one.
Switzerland. We'll fucking look at Switzerland stats. I guarantee they're a million times better than ours. My whole thing is, I don't
Also
care if
big
you
one,
have a
but-
gun. Go ahead and like do your thing, but I feel like there are more regulations to get my dog like chipped than fucking like getting a gun. And I think that's wrong. Like there are far more regulations on so many more things. And I don't care if you have a gun. I believe you should have the right to bear arms. Every time I go to my father-in-law's house, I have to tell him like, dude, I have a 4 and a 6-year-old and you have a fucking handgun on the kitchen table. Like, can you just put it in the safe? Like, and he's like, oh yeah, sorry, like, and that's fine. Like, he's responsible with them outside of where he fucking puts them, but he
Yeah.
lives alone. But I think getting a firearm, whatever of any sort, a handgun, a rifle, an AR, like I don't care. I just think that maybe we like look into regulations a little bit more, a
To what?
little bit deeper. What's that?
To what? What do
To
we want
like
to
maybe not
regulate
make
to,
it so
though?
fucking easy. Like maybe like you have to go through more tests or you have to be psychologically like evaluated or like looked at like what's your past and like do you have a fucking like mental issue that this could maybe not be the safest thing for you to have in your possession because of your mental state or like I don't know, but there's other countries that are doing it far better than us, and yet we seem to have a steady increase in school shootings at a lot of different things like that I don't think should be happening. We're not doing enough.
Well,
Like a schizophrenic with no felonies can get a gun.
Yeah, like
yeah,
and I just think that
but they
I
can't in
don't wanna
any other country though. They don't have like extensive like mental health checks.
you know that for a
Maybe
fact.
not in Switzerland, but in Russia, China, Great Britain.
Okay,
they
how
don't-
many
they don't
how many
have-
school shootings do they have there?
I don't know that.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't think any of us are going to know
But-
all the fucking stats of all the fucking
Okay,
things.
let me
we
hit
talk
you with
about,
this though,
so-
right? So, say
Wait, so you're saying you don't think that
no,
you should
no,
be
no.
more
Hear me out.
regulated?
Hear me out. No,
Okay.
I don't. No, I don't. But so hear me out, right? If somebody come in, Bug, tied you up in your house, killed your wife in front of you, and then got away with it, and everything inside of you wanted to go kill that motherfucker, and you decided to go do it.
Is this
Do you
law-abiding
think?
citizen?
Do you think?
I was just going to say that.
All right.
That was going to be my comeback. Damn it,
Right?
P.
Okay, well, so if you made up in your mind, right? No matter you're a sane person, right? Law-abiding citizen, whatever. He was a sane person. Do you think anything would stop you of getting a gun? Whether it was
Yeah.
more regulations, more anything else, or would you go to whatever it took to go down to buy an illegal weapon because they're going to be on our streets no matter what? It happens all the time. We can't clean those up, but we want to get the ones from people who actually have licenses, carry licenses, concealed licenses to go down to the store and actually buy them. You think it's going to stop any criminals or any people who want to go and get a gun to go kill that motherfucker?
So 2 points, two avenues.
Wait, yes or no? Yes or no? I know it's a shitty, simple answer, but do you think it would stop them from going to get a gun?
All right, Bug. Use your First Amendment. Go.
Legally,
No, you have to hear out my first scenario in order for me to answer that or to give you like a reason to question your thought process on that. Step one is if we had stricter regulations, maybe since 1800 versus 1776, or we made some decisions along the way, and we don't know this, but I actually guarantee over the course of 200 plus years that we could have figured out a way to regulate gun control better, that there were less illegal guns on the streets, to where maybe my wife and my kids, that gruesome scene still
Stayed
happens,
alive.
but maybe we could have reduced the overall number of that happening by whatever percent, because we were
Maybe,
better
but-
regulated.
But when we open
But-
up our
but-
borders to anyone and we can bring in any cartel, any drug cartel, you don't think they're bringing guns right and left to every single motherfucker who wants them?
Dude, I
to sell
live
them, you
in
know
one
what
of
I
the
mean?
most dangerous cities in the US.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I don't care if you're from Mexico, if you're from
No, that's
fucking
besides-
Russia,
that's
if you're
besides the
from
point.
wherever, but I'm saying there's dangerous. I said this earlier. There's of all walks of life. There's shitty ass people and great ass people.
No, I was
There's
talking
some of
about
the
people
poorest-
bringing in guns from out of the country in through the open border. I'm not talking about
So-
race at all. I'm just talking about guns.
I'm
getting
not making a race
transported
thing. Sorry,
in,
I wasn't
you
making
know,
I wasn't
from
making a race
out
thing.
to
My
in
point was
that aren't registered, that aren't anything that people
Y'all
are
got
getting.
me sweating.
You know what I mean, right?
no. So I wasn't
But-
making. Sorry, I
but
did not.
you-
I
all
didn't.
right. You got.
I wasn't making it a race
though.
thing.
All right. Would you? All right. Do you think that the dude who all this weird shit happened to, right? Do you think anything will stop him from getting a gun, whether it's buying it from the store or getting a legal background check or going to buy an illegal one with some, with all the serial numbers scratched off from a legal dude or knows a buddy or whatever, right? Do you think anything would
Wait,
stop
so
him
is
from
this
getting a gun? This
to
is my
kill my
original
wife?
question. No, from going to kill the dude who killed your wife. If
So-
if you already made up
So-
your mind, that's what you're going to do. Because
So what I
whatever
would do-
scenario, whatever headspace you're in, doesn't matter, right? Do you think anyone would stop you if you made up your mind, like, I'm going to go kill that motherfucker? I need
So
a gun.
you asked what I would do. I don't know what that person would do.
No,
what
no,
I would
no,
do-
no, I didn't say what you would, right? Do you think
You said my
anything-
wife.
No, do you think
This is about me.
I said if
I
you
don't
made
care
up
what
your mind
fucking
that you're
Johnny
going to kill
Bravo
him,
does.
right? If you made up your mind you're going to kill him,
But you
would
no,
there
you're
be anything
you're already
to
telling
stop
me what
you?
I decided. You already told me what I decided.
Exactly.
I'm telling you
yes,
what I decided.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no.
Wait, time out.
No,
That's the
no.
scenario. It doesn't
I
matter.
can't choose what I fucking pick.
Yes, I can because it's not a moral thing, right?
The witness. Objection,
not a-
Your
it's
Honor.
not- it's
You're
not
leading
your
the
You're
witness.
moral-
taking away my First Amendment right, motherfucker.
Bug. It's not where I don't care where your moral compass points, right? This is just the fact of if you
No, it's not a fact because you're not letting
Okay.
me fucking choose my own
All right,
destiny.
Timbo, my man.
What the fuck is this?
Timbo.
This is
No,
fucking
I'm
insane.
trying to get a point, right? If
You asked me a
trying
question
to
and
get
you
your
never
point.
let me fucking answer it.
yeah, because you don't want to answer it though. I'm just
I
saying.
just fucking tried
No,
to.
No,
I
you're
get-
putting
tried
on
to
a
like 3
different
fucking
scenario,
times.
right?
Oh my
Okay,
God.
Bug, not you. Okay, some random person, right? If
put
you
yourself in
if they
somebody
made
else's
up
shoes.
if they made up their mind, that
Then
they
why'd you have to
wanted
put my
do-
wife and kids into it?
because
what
I
the
thought
fuck?
it. Well, I thought it would make it more personal. It doesn't matter.
Yes, because it's about me. So I have to make
Yeah.
the decision. Are you hearing yourself right
Yeah,
now?
wait
I
till it
am.
says
I
that.
am. But you're missing it, right? If you made up your mind that you were gonna go kill him, would anything stop you from getting a gun,
I feel like you
We're-
made up his mind.
regardless of your moral compass? Do you think that more regulations would stop you from buying a gun? Yes or no?
He's asking you, Timbo. I'm fucking out of this one.
Oh, I thought he was still asking Bug.
Yeah,
No, I
Bug-
get what
Bug
you're
got
saying.
mad.
Put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Exactly. I didn't think it
I
was
mean-
that fucking hard. Jesus Christ.
That was kind of funny though.
Here's
That
the
was kinda
thing.
Come back, Bug.
It's
Come
fu-
back.
No.
Here
Listen,
he
listen.
comes.
Do not interrupt. Do not interrupt.
Ah.
Hey,
Do not
it's my
interrupt.
time. It's my time.
If you put me in someone else's shoes and someone came into my house and killed my wife and kids, what would that person do? You did not put Timbo in that person's shoes. You put Timbo in that person's shoes after they made a decision. That's not the
Yes.
question here.
No,
The
that
question
is
is-
the whole question.
No, brother, if you play back this podcast, your question was if someone got an illegal gun, they came in and they shot your wife and your
No,
kids,
I didn't
what
say
would you
they
do?
got an illegal gun. I said if they killed them.
Okay,
and
so
got
they
away,
killed them. They killed them.
Yes.
What would you do?
Yes.
Would anything stop you from going and get a gun at any cost?
Yes.
And you never let me answer. I wouldn't go get a gun. If I trust the legal system and the government and whatever, I would do everything in my power to first do everything I can with every evidence I can track down, everything I can find out about this person to get them put in jail for life, and they can deal with that fucking disaster that is prison. If that fucking shat on my bed and nothing came of it, then I probably would go down another avenue. But you never let me fucking get there.
Well, listen, I'm sorry, but I knew you were going to say that. I'm sorry. I was trying to.
You did not know that. You know why? Because you went to Timbo.
Say that. I knew exactly what you were going to say.
Or if the legal system gave him, 3 years.
I'm just saying that's a different scenario, right? I was just talking purely, okay, random dude. No, sorry, but random dude.
All I'm saying is you can't decide what someone's first step is. You can't pick what someone's first step is.
No,
you're trying to put like, when you ask a hypothetical, we get it. You got sweaty bits, bro.
But why can't I? Does that not happen?
That wasn't the first time you asked. The reason I got jacked up is because that wasn't how you framed the question the first time. You framed it up as, this is what happens. Your family gets killed. What do you do?
No.
And then it turned into, you've already determined.
I'm gonna have to side with Bug on that one. It was very leading.
If you would have first asked, your family gets killed and you decide to find a gun at any cost, would you? Yeah. That's my only option.
Trying to say.
But that's not what you asked the first time. If you said your only option, the government, the legal system is out of the question. They're never going to fucking care about your case. They're never going to go after this guy. I thought that's
what I said. He got away scot-free. Did I not say that?
No.
I'm just on an island over here. I'm going to play this back for you motherfuckers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I hope you do.
I hope I do too.
I knew P knew where I was coming from. If I was put in the situation you did on part 2 of this conversation, of course I would go that route. However, how it was originally framed up was different than how part 2 came about, is all I'm saying. Well, you didn't let me answer part 1 before you jumped to part 2.
Yeah, because I was trying to get to part 2.
Well, regardless, you didn't fucking get there.
Well, maybe it's my bad. I don't know. Okay.
Listen, you know what's going to happen? I love all you guys, and I'm glad we can be chatting about all this right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sweating like a goddamn someone stole something.
No, my whole point, though, is if somebody's going to go get a gun to kill somebody,
they're going to get a gun.
They're going to get a fucking gun, right? So regardless of more stipulations or mental health checks or any of that, it doesn't matter because they've made up their mind already. Whether or not they've been bullied enough in school.
It could reduce
we don't know that, though. The only percentage that I know is when you reduce guns in any single country for any single reason, their crime goes up, and that is facts. Google it right now if you don't buy me. It's fact. Google. Show me where.
Hold up. Let me see if I'm understanding where you're coming from. So you're saying, basically, bad guy, good guy. A bad guy is going to be able to find a gun, and he's going to be able to commit crimes no matter what.
Yes.
As a good guy, you want to be able to defend yourself, and you don't want anyone making it harder for you to be able to defend yourself because you should be able to defend yourself from the bad guy getting a gun.
Yes,
right?
That's part of it, yeah.
And so it takes away your right to defend yourself.
Yes. Because they're going to get it regardless, right? So
yeah,
it's a fucking massive.
You make it impossible to get a gun, and then the only people that have guns are the ones that are going to commit the crime.
Yeah, who get it illegally in the first place.
Yep, it leaves the people that have good intentions with the gun, hunting, whatever, or even your right.
Yeah,
as a citizen.
Yes.
But what if you make it next to impossible? Then you can't defend yourself against the person who's going to get it illegally.
Yeah,
but what happens?
What was the first thing Hitler did? He went and rounded up all of the guns, and then he fucking exterminated all the Jews.
And the Jews.
First thing he fucking did.
Sorry, we doubled down on the Jews.
But what if there was one regulation that reduced one person from getting a gun, then they're well dried up after that? Right? They try to go on every avenue. Like maybe you put enough twists and turns into things and people just finally can't get to where, so maybe they resort to another form, right? Maybe you shut down this road, but it opens another road. Like there's that discussion as well. Like I can totally get that. but I'll have to do some research on like the school shootings in particular, because
Well, nobody likes school shootings, guys. You know.
no, I know that, but I'm saying
But
like,
all right, scenario, Bug. Maybe you'll like this one better, right? They'll put you on the spot again. How about this?
Keep it doing, Bug.
Bug, what if
Yep.
every teacher in the building carried a weapon? So if the school shooting did happen, you wouldn't be just sitting in front of your 30 children that you had to just stand in front of and wait to die. What if you had a gun, and if he came in here, you blew that motherfucker up? And then he died, which all the school, maybe not everyone, but majority of the school shootings, they kill themselves anyway. Or they run out blazing in front of the cops, and then they ended up dying because they wanted to die anyway. But they killed a bunch of innocent fucking kids, which is fucking terrible. And I hate it as much as the next guy. But if a teacher, or, you know, if every teacher in that building and principals had a gun on them and could defend themselves, they wouldn't be sitting there with all those innocent kids defenseless and not being able to defend themselves. If they had a gun and they came in the classroom to kill 30 kids, you could at least blow that motherfucker up, or your teacher across the hall, you know, and be prepared to go in, or maybe it even deter kids from even coming into the schools and doing that in the first place, because they know that their teacher carries a weapon on their hip at all times. Like, I don't say I'm going to shoot up, but I know if I was going to go and rob a house and I knew that the owner of the house carried a weapon on him all the time versus when I know he didn't, I would definitely go to the one that didn't to go rob that house rather than the one that I knew carried a weapon. 1,000%. Right?
So would you
what
rather,
about that scenario? Thoughts on that?
Would you rather do that, or would you rather, you know, triple, quadruple the amount of resource officers you had on the school premises at all time?
I mean,
like,
that wouldn't be a terrible option, but
because I mean, all that is paying more salaries, you know, to have that particular person on campus.
I mean,
on the school grounds, but
I
mean,
we pay enough in taxes for that to be possible. So yeah.
So I'm gonna ask these questions to you three, and it's unbiased. I'm just asking them because I just Googled a couple things. So let's take the scenario that every teacher or every faculty or staff has a gun. What percentage of gun misfires do we think we have increasing over every year? Because these are people that didn't want a gun, potentially. Maybe they have guns at home, so maybe they do know how to use them. You'd have to go through training. You'd have to know how to use. You have to pat. You know,
which they
but
should.
These are
They
people
should
that
make
don't
that
want
mandatory.
them. There's some people that don't want them. They're scared by them, and then you're asking them to keep one on them at all time. How many gun misfires do you think are going to increase per year?
I don't know why
it definitely would go up. I mean, just
because even the most. I see people. I've seen videos of men or women training other people at a shooting range on how to use a gun, and I see misfires.
Yeah.
So then you're going to take someone who doesn't want a gun that is around children to then carry a gun. Okay, so just food for thought. Question 2. At what age do you then have, say you have a high school and you have a 24-year-old lady out of college, only a handful of years older than a classroom of 25, and they want to take that gun off that teacher? What's her security? She can't take down 25 kids. If they, yeah, but if she's like checking under her desk and then all of a sudden she looks up and 10 people are fucking wailing on her, like, okay, so then
then the teacher across the hall comes in, right? Who will also
she's fucking Usain Bolt, like, how's she getting there?
Is she gonna shoot up the class?
Yeah, she's gonna shoot up the class. Like, how does she handle a situation where 20 kids know that you have a gun and they want to fucking steal, they want to be fucking cheeky or whatever, or is a dare or something stupid, because kids are fucking stupid, and they try to take that gun from her. Does she shoot a kid? Does she let them take it but not know what they want to do with it?
You can't
do you want kids? Do you want my first grade kid to go into her first grade class for the first time and go into the doors with an armed veteran standing? She doesn't know that that's making her safer. That's going to freak her out.
I see your point.
So
I see what you're
again,
saying. Okay.
like there's levels to this
Yeah.
that you want to arm every teacher.
Do you think that more students would go and try to steal their teachers' guns than there would be
Don't know that.
students
Don't know
shooting
how
up
many
schools?
misfires there'd be. Don't know
Kids
how
are
many misfires
stupid,
there'd
man.
be.
Well,
Kids are
dumb.
stupid.
I was gonna make a joke earlier about how much nicer it would have been to my, 9th grade, 10th grade English teacher if I knew that she had a gun on her. Probably wouldn't have made her cry every week, but
Yeah, that's
Fuck
true.
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
You
we're
probably
we're
think
still
twice about it.
dumbass.
People with guns.
But there's fucking dumb kids every year.
Yeah, there's dumbasses that, yeah, would definitely probably do some stupid shit like trying to take a gun from somebody.
Possibly, but how often does that happen in the regular? I mean, just in outside of school, right? How many kids try to go steal people who are carrying people with weapons gun?
Yeah, but now
How
you
do they
times
get them
it by-
illegally?
You
Like,
times it by like
it's
80.
another avenue for them to steal a gun. If they want to get a gun illegally, but they know their teacher
No, I
has
mean,
one,
I was just talking about if they're just some Joe Schmo is walking down the street with a gun or in this grocery store, a bunch of punk kids are, I mean, what are the stats or whatever that they go and steal his gun and kill him with it?
Yeah, but that's like if one guy was walking the same route every single day and you had 50 kids, walking around him. This scenario that Bug's playing out is going to be methodical and planned out. And, the same teacher's there every single day. They have a routine. So they're going to, kind of think about that scenario. The random guy in the grocery store, fuck no, you're not going to go steal his gun because he's going to fucking shoot you right in the gut.
Yeah, I
But-
understand what you guys are saying. I'm just trying to put a different point out. Okay, well, if that is possible, say he does take the gun, these punk ass kids, steal the gun, whatever, hold her hostage, whatever. Every other teacher in the facility also has a gun. So they can come and help, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where I think.
yeah, but
I-
then you
I
have
see the
a
pros and cons. I think
Okay,
the
okay.
then you have a
more-
bunch of
more
teachers trying to
officers-
shoot up 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds. Like that, it gets really fucking dicey.
Okay. Well, if somebody's trying to kill you, do you care if he's 18 or
They're not trying to kill them.
25.
Maybe they just want to steal the gun.
No, it's
Maybe they just want to steal the gun. Right? The other teachers
I
don't know
understand.
their intentions. You know what I mean?
Well, I understand that. That's why you gotta learn and be trained. Or, what if, okay, you guys don't like the teacher scenario. What about P's scenario where he said you have more officers or whatever, armed officers in the schools, rather than just one or none? If you had like 10 at each school that are trained and are officers, I mean, would school shootings go down? Because I don't like taking away any of my rights because it gets dicey after that. If you take one, what happens if you start nibbling?
I'm not taking away your right. I'm regulating your right to see the world, 200 plus years ago. To not repeat history, for example, we have to make changes. We have to make modifications. We have to adjust with the times. And
Yeah,
my thought
but-
is maybe I like the armed veteran or the armed off-duty police officer at the school better than every teacher having
Okay.
a gun. I think that's a better scenario.
Okay.
I think for the younger kids, it's still kind of scary. Like, why do I have to go to a school where there's an armed, like, vested person? Like,
So
they don't
you don't
understand
die
that.
from some punk ass bringing a fucking AK-47 in.
I understand
that
that,
was the
but
whole
tell
point.
that to my 6-year-old. She doesn't know what an AK is. She doesn't know like the risks. Like she went to school for her first time for a full year and didn't know all the risks that she had going to that school every day. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm taking away your right. I'm saying, do we regulate certain things a little bit better? Do we find ways to do we not try to grow with the times? Do we not try to like improve ourselves as a race? Because there's shitty people everywhere.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
totally get that. And I'm just saying, I don't want to take away your rights. I want you to be free. But like the shitty thing is society has made our rights a little more restricted. They don't make it as loose. Like you can't go back to the Wild West days when like everybody just had their 6-shooter on them and like it was fine. And they trusted they weren't going to shoot you unless you got into a duel or whatever the fucking case was. We're not in those times anymore, unfortunately. Like we have to kind of evolve and grow, and we have to look at the facts that it's not as safe as it used to be. There's a lot of other things that are coming into play. Maybe we kind of look in, is there ways, and I don't know what the regulation, whatever I said, like a background check or not a background check, a mental health check or whatever. You could still fake those. You could still fool people. Like, I get that.
Yeah, but
But-
you're talking strictly to law-abiding citizens is my problem, right? So
Full
you,
circle.
But what I'm saying
no,
is,
no, hold on. You're talking to law-abiding citizens though, like
No,
me and people
but
who
there's a
register
trickle
their
effect.
guns, right? So if
there's a
it makes it
trickle
harder
effect.
for me to get it, do you think that the people who are just going to get the guns, you think is making it any harder for them? I don't.
So
think
let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Let me
Full
ask you this.
circle P.
No. Let me ask you this. If there's 100 people going to get a gun, and today 95 of them get a gun, but we do some research, we do some test studies, whatever, and we put in some regulations that then allow those same 100 people to go get a gun, and only 80 of them get a gun. There's less guns on the streets. There's less accessibility for those trying to get them illegally. Because maybe you're one of those 80 that fooled everybody, right? And your intentions were only to get a gun so you could sell it to some fucking punk to go shoot something, right? Or shoot someone illegally or go shoot up a school or whatever. We are slowly, gradually reducing the pipeline. We're
Yeah,
talking earlier about oil and all these things and food and crops and all these other things that if we could do it ourselves and we can have more avenues to get it, then we're not going to go down an economic, famine and all these kind of things. If we
Mhm.
reduce the pipeline and we kind of tighten our belt a
Reduce
little
the
bit,
guns though. Why do we want to reduce guns?
reduce the people that are getting guns. If 95 people are getting guns versus 80, there's 15 less guns out there in the world because those 15 people did not seem stable enough or whatever. They didn't pass whatever regulation to get a gun. Therefore, there's 15 less kids out there able to get fucking illegal guns.
Or
Well,
different scenario,
well,
Bug. 100 people went in, 95 got guns, and then 10 people that you didn't know about, unregistered, and they didn't take a part of this quiz, went and got guns.
Where do they get them from?
The streets?
Where do the streets get them from?
I don't know. The cartel, the people coming
Where
in
did the
illegally
cartel get
across
them
the
from?
border. I don't know. The army, wherever.
I'm just saying, if you're at least taking some steps to
but you're
reduce
trying
the
to
risk.
you're trying to get this big picture and try to reduce all these guns, but yet there's guns being divvied out all over the place, and they're not the people who are killing people. They're not registering those guns in their names, is what I'm trying to say. They either get it
I
from their
understand that.
uncle who registered as a person who's safe with guns, got all of his licenses. The kid who was upset and went and shot up his school, he went and grabbed his uncle's guns, figured out his code, and then he went and shot him up.
So you're saying there's not one example of someone who wasn't stable enough to have a gun, got a gun, and did something wrong with it. You're saying there's not one example.
Okay, there
Just
might
one.
be one.
One.
Okay, but you're gonna take away everyone's rights and try to shut down things.
No, I'm not taking everybody's rights away.
Yeah, you are.
I'm taking that one person's away.
All you're doing is you're
No.
trying to stop people who law-abiding citizens from getting guns, making it harder for them
not-
to get guns. Is what I'm saying.
So, do you think that drugs should be regulated? Or should I be able to get a non-prescription drug at any point in time whenever I want because I'm a law-abiding citizen? I can jump over the pharmacy counter and grab whatever the fuck I want off there because I'm
That's
going to
why
do the
there's
right thing
drug
with it.
dealers. You don't. There's drug people
But I'm
get illegal
I'm
drugs
saying
every
there's-
single day.
I'm saying there's
That they're going
always
to the
shitty
doctor.
people.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
always shitty people.
They'll get illegally is what I'm saying. Do you
I
think
know
cocaine's
that,
legal?
but-
But cocaine's legal, or cocaine's everywhere. But
All
people
right,
go
you know
and
what?
get it, and it's illegal, but they still
So-
get it, right? So the guns are the same way, is what I'm saying. It's
So
an
let's
impossible
go
task.
back-
You're trying to take away guns from people who follow the
I'm
rules,
not.
but I guess what I'm saying is
No,
you're not making it harder for people who are
Let me stop you there.
unstable.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't care if you follow every rule, but if you're not mentally stable enough to carry a gun, you shouldn't have one, right? You're telling me that because you abide by laws, you're allowed a gun. But what you're not telling me, let's take all the cartel and all the illegal shit out of it. There are still law-abiding citizens that are getting guns that shouldn't be getting guns.
Do we know that?
100%. Do some more. If you know what, I'll tell you this: if they will still get a gun, then those regulations won't matter. Those regulations won't matter because they're going to pass every test. They're going to meet every requirement because they deserve a gun, whatever that may be.
And then
So
if,
to your own point, to
and then if-
backfire on that,
and then if
is
crime
that-
doesn't go down,
then we have to adjust and modify and relook at
and then
it.
we keep those same rules.
But let me ask you this. Let me
against
ask you
people.
this. And I missed part of this because I think P brought this up. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with killing kids. No.
Okay. Are people still going to get
Faith,
abortions
I
one way or
applaud
the other?
your faith in humanity, my man. I applaud it, bro. I
Are
love
people
it.
still
To be
gonna get
honest, I really
abortions?
love it. Yeah, and we can't stop it.
Okay. We can't stop it. We can't stop everything, but we can regulate to try to reduce the risk.
Is there
reduce the
regulations
risk.
on abortion, or do we just talk about it?
All I'm saying is that could also be a topic that's regulated.
Yeah, but how do you regulate abortion? It should be their decision.
I'm not saying I have examples right now. I'm just saying everything could be looked at to try to improve and make better. I'm saying there's still going to be legal
looking at
guns
humanity
out there.
as like the great whole, and I love the faith in humanity. I love it, but the
We
reality,
don't have faith in humanity because there's so many shitty people out there.
yeah, but you're acting like these shitty people don't break the law.
They
right?
do.
Exactly.
All I'm saying, Brad, all I'm saying,
Exactly.
all
You
I'm
said it.
saying, all I'm saying is if we impose some certain regulations, let's see if they work. You don't know unless you try. Right? So if you impose one or two regulations and we see a reduction in crime or a reduction in school shootings, those still might not even be the cause of it. They might not even be the cause of it. But we don't know. That's the thing. We just don't know. You could take, you know what? No guns in America ever again. Well, the shitty people will still get them from Mexico or wherever.
And the government
That's still going to
has
happen.
them.
But I'm just saying, like, if you don't look at what happened in the past, like you said, and you don't try to improve, if you just let the Second Amendment right be the Second Amendment right, and like it is what it is, like if you don't try to, what the fuck, Pete? Like,
I don't even know.
if you don't, he's trying to
I
make
think
the
we should-
McDonald's sign,
I
but
think we
if you
should
don't,
regulate how long he plays with his hair.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you don't try something new, you don't know the outcome. And I get it. I said it earlier. I don't care what social status, the lowest of the low, the highest of the high, whatever religious background you have, whatever like country you came from. I don't care. It's not a race thing. It's not an ethnicity. It's not a social status thing. There's shitty people across the board, right? I'm just saying if you don't try to improve, basically you're saying we're stacked, like we're good where we're at. What I'm saying is let's try to improve a little bit. If
I
we
was saying
take
let's
one,
improve the other way. That's all I'm saying.
give more people guns.
Yeah. Why not? When has that ever been a terrible thing?
So the other way about that is if you give everybody a gun, you give more power to people to overtake something.
Okay. They have that power now.
How?
Because they
There-
get guns.
I
now.
know where you're
right
going to
there.
go with this, but I don't think I would have to challenge. I would assume I think I know where you're going with it, but I'll let you go this route. But like, we don't have as much to say as we think we do. We really don't.
Look, the whole point of the Second Amendment is when you have a tyrannical government that you can have arms, you could have the right to bear arms to try to overthrow the tyrannical government so they don't own you and have a dictatorship and become a king and make you all fucking slaves. Like
So you
throughout
want another
history,
civil
right?
war?
Well, if that's what it comes
Which is
down
what you
to,
said earlier. You don't want it to come to.
Listen, if
You
the
said that
government
earlier.
if
Roll
the
the tape.
government if
You
the
said
government
that.
tries to rule over us as the people, goddamn right I'm going to fucking war against the government. Why wouldn't I?
So there's no perfect
gonna fight
answer.
for our
Is what I'm
rights.
trying to say. There's no perfect answer.
No, there's
Just like I said, there's no
not.
perfect president. There's no perfect scenario. We're fucking rolling with the punches. But you literally said a civil war is going to deplete this and deplete that, and like this is going to happen in our, there's no perfect answer. And I'm sure I've contradicted myself tonight. I guarantee it. I'm just saying, like, there's no perfect answer. So, like, all I'm trying to say is let's just try some different things. Let's just try to see if this works a little better than that. If it doesn't, then let's fucking huddle back up and pivot and admit that we were wrong. Like, I think the
Okay.
biggest thing is we have such a struggle as a human race to admit when we're wrong. And I had that not too long ago, and now I'm like, fucking own up to your shit, right? And then, like, this is where I thought was my path. This fucking didn't work. I'm gonna go this way. Like, it's okay to do that, because if you don't try something new, you're never gonna know if it works or not.
Yeah.
I'm trying
And
something new right now.
Listen,
Yeah, it's not working.
I'm not saying
let's
anything
go
against
pivot.
that. I was just saying you put regulations on gun. I said, okay, let's give people more guns and see how that works. And it's the same
All right.
thing.
That concludes the great debate. I do have to apologize if any of your wives are looking at the cam right now. I know they can't help themselves, but this hairdo in particular is going to catch on.
You look like if
Trust
Bart
me.
Simpson's hair like hit up like huge humidity and just flopped over.
Yep, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
Or it looks like shark's teeth.
You look like a
Looks like the
jack-o'-lantern.
McDonald's logo. Tilt your head down just a little
I prefer
bit.
shark's teeth.
Tilt your head down a little bit and you look like you golden arches right there.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
absolutely. Well,
Or
you're
maybe
welcome.
like someone sitting on a toilet and a giant turd coming out the center.
Jesus Christ. But save some puss for the rest of us, buddy.
I just can't help it. It just came upon me. I just had a vision, and this was it. I'm probably not gonna wear it again after tonight, but we'll see. We'll see if it catches on. My
It's a
apologies, fellas. I know you guys are
perfect-
sweating as much as I am.
You're drying up a little bit there.
Oh,
Yuck.
I finally figured out my hairdo. Yuck. I got yucked.
Yeah, I don't like it, man.
The strange things, Brad, is I think what we
Yeah.
both just argued about is the fact that we disagree on the route, but we agree on the strategy
picture.
of it. Like, we agree to try something different to see if it works, but may not have agreed on the route. But at the same time, like, you want more guns, I want less, or not less guns. I want more regulations to see if that would like restrict people that, what. And then, again, I'm throwing this like fancy regulations out there. I could say, you're under 6 feet tall, you don't get a gun. Well, then I'm fucked. But like that wouldn't be a regulation that would make sense, right? But there's some that maybe they do, and maybe they don't. Maybe where it's at right now is perfect. Maybe it shouldn't be more guns or less guns or whatever. Maybe where we're at right now is perfect. It just sucks that we have shitty people,
I mean,
One
to be
thing we
honest,
can't agree on.
we agree on that. We have
Yeah, we
shitty
agree
people.
that this one's gonna catch on.
No, it's not.
I think I'm about to buzz cut. I'm about to get a plane ticket out and
Is
save
it?
on my gas and just fly out there and fucking shave that shit.
Yeah.
Well, don't do that, because we're just one part away, buddy, and then we're back to the 90s. Hello.
If you're listening out there, I apologize.
Oh my
Piece of
gosh.
hair. If you could only see this is
It is fucking Dwight Schrute. If you ever watched The Office, this is a
Yeah.
darker haired Dwight Schrute.
First off, if you can't see this, you're missing out, and that's my apology. More people
Yeah.
should see this, and
The
that's
funny
on
thing,
you.
the
I
funny
feel
thing is you can't see below this camera, but my pants somehow fell off.
yeah.
I feel like my hair started going down my face, jumped my eyes, and continued on my mustache.
I feel
Oh
we
yeah,
should
it's like a
roast
trickle
you
effect.
for a minute,
Mhm.
but
Mm-hmm. Yep. Screenshot it. Take a picture.
But your
Try and
pubes are doing the
replicate it.
same thing.
Jesus Christ, bro.
I didn't know. You can see that? I got me a freaking upside down smile down there.
Yeah, bro. You look like Boy Meets World's buddy. You know?
Sean?
John, yeah, bro. He had
Yeah.
the long, luscious locks.
That was
bro.
the style, man.
Yeah,
I tried to
he's
do
trying
that in
bring it
grade
back.
school, dude, and I fucking look like a
Well,
sorry
I'm
ass.
just happy that I'm 32 and I can still grow long, luscious locks everywhere. Down there, my face, up top, you name it.
back door.
Yeah, how
No,
big's your
no.
bush, dude?
Bigger than yours. Let's see.
Jesus Christ. Oh man, you got me good, buddy.
That actually probably was a really good one. Can I say this to because I feel like we're wrapping up the political conversation. I feel like I got really riled up and I loved it. Like this was a good it got a little, like back and forthy, but I think it was a good thing. I think we handled it well. I think we agreed to disagree and agree to agree and disagree to disagree whenever every fucking thing in between.
Wait, what?
You guys are definitely
just agree. Damn it.
You're master debaters, I'll tell you that much.
I would say
listen.
Hello.
I just wish Timbo had my back on the fucking my family got shot up and Timbo's over here like, it's okay.
No,
Listen, I was on an island the entire time, guys. I don't want to hear it. The entire podcast,
Brad,
I'm over here on an island.
No, Brad, I will say there was a handful of times I could definitely, and you could roll the tape. I agreed with you on a handful of things. But I think honestly, like there were some things that I just brought up just to get a conversation rolling. Not that I was like agreeing with it. Like the whole school thing, like a teacher having a gun versus like 10 people posted up outside. I have different feelings on that, but like I wasn't like I would agree with, I don't know about a teacher having a gun because I feel more risk there, but like having people posted up was maybe not a bad idea. Like, but some of the things I brought up was just to like kind of get some debate going and see where like it kind of went, because there were times that I'm still going to say what I say or what I feel, but I just wanted to kind of get the conversation like kept going and stuff like that. So
it was already going,
but there was a handful of times, Brad, like I definitely agreed with you. Like I think the biggest thing was like
buddy.
the political parties thing, man. Like
you've been fibbing all night.
Yeah,
no, you roll the tape.
Island.
You guys listened to it, and there was 3 or 4 times minimum. I said, I agree with you here. I agree with you here. Like
maximum.
So
what?
Timbo like kind of agreed with me, and then you jumped on him for agreeing with him, and then
I didn't even get to talk.
I know. Tried to bring him in.
Hey, I just sat back and played with my hair.
Listen, guys, it's all good. I'm glad we can have conversations. Whether we agree,
I liked
disagree.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I actually didn't have to do much. I just sat back and watched the show. Appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah, so
I wish
your show, P.
The only thing I wish
we
is
had our little side
we
thing
knew we
going
were
on
going to talk about this, Brad,
Oh.
to like, because there was far too many times I'm like, I don't have fucking anything to back this up. I haven't researched this in prep for this podcast. If I would have known this is where it was going, I would have done a little bit more research to like kind of have a little couple things in my back pocket. There was too many times I was like,
agree with me more.
know.
You'd have had a PowerPoint.
I would have fucking.
I don't
Let
know.
me share my screen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like I research like every day or just research. I didn't know we were talking about this either. I've just done research like over the past like while and looked into a bunch of things. Is the only reason I know this.
Hey, but you
Things
gotta shut
piss
your
me
chest.
off.
You
It's
got
true.
shit off your chest in a conversation.
It's true. 'Cause
So-
things do piss me off about the world, and so I look in like, what is the fucking problem? And then I figure out all these facts, and this is why I think the way I do, and
I think the big picture, Brad, in all honesty, the weird thing is big picture. I think we're actually on the same page. Like, I don't care if you're left or right. I don't care if you're this or that. Like, let's just fucking do what's best to make the world better, right? And I 100% agree with you on that. Like, I want the economy to be thriving, and I want our world to be here, like environmentally for thousands and thousands of years to come. And I want a perfect scenario, but like we can't have that. So what do we sacrifice and what do we build upon? Like I think you and I are 100% on the same page there.
I think
like,
majority of people are. We just have like little tiny disagreements on whether or not people should have guns in school or how to. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's fucked up as it is. No one likes school shootings, right? And it's terrible and all that. But in reality, they happen like a super small amount compared to like daily life, right? And I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but like as a whole, as a country, like my little rant in the middle, I feel like we all kind of like more, I don't know. I don't know statistics, but I would say like majority of humanity would think the same way, right? Like we all just need to, you know, get along and figure out how things work. I feel like we just disagree on like the little policies or like the little things that could have an impact, but like whether or not like we are friends or we get along or we're successful as a country or that, like they don't play like a huge role. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away, but you know what I mean? Like,
But I think one thing is you definitely take more of an interest in that type of stuff than I do. I would say as far as just like a little exercise, maybe you stumble upon certain facts and data and everything, and it's easy to snowball with that to roll with it. One, I'd say once you find something that has really piqued your interest, almost counter that and research the opposite. Like something that you find interesting and you find a real staple point in what you believe in, Google the opposite and try and see the other point of
It's
view
not a bad idea.
to see if it's anything that you could relate to, or if you're just shutting off, just kind of just dismissing it. Or
It's
if
actually
you
a really good idea.
agree on that opposite effect.
no, I agree. And P, I will, honest truth, I never did that until Biden.
Oh, okay.
And I've never really been in the politics scene. I didn't really get into stuff with like Obama and Bush. Like, I was younger and like I was like, I don't always agree with this, but it is what it is.
The funny thing is,
And-
I've seen that in you, because
Yeah.
it was different when Trump was in. It was kind of whatever.
Yeah,
And
like you've
when
seen it.
Biden
Yeah, it was
in,
like,
yeah, I've seen the transformation in you, and you've become way more in tune with the political side of things.
Yeah.
And you typically do have facts to back things up,
Yeah.
as Bug would say. It's not a fact because you say it.
I don't know, but that's just the only thing that I know how to throw out for like people to like see, you know what I mean? And believe me, like there's been plenty
Oh,
of
so the blind don't have a thought anymore?
no, they're not.
No,
The gingers don't have souls either, so
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's a fact.
those are facts.
They
buddy.
have ginger
You want to
bias.
spit facts.
But
But
nah,
let me ask
PM,
you this,
I'm glad.
then,
I'm
Brad.
glad you said that though, because I fucking
Well-
dug into shit and like policies and why.
In doing so,
history.
have you found anything that Biden has done that you agree with? See, that's what's hard. That's where I don't want the blinders to come on, because it's easy to
I mean-
snowball away from it. But if there's something that you agree on,
So
I mean,
I
kind of what
don't.
Bug was saying earlier, there's going to be things that go along with decisions.
I
you know,
understand,
that's
but
gonna affect
I mean, to be honest, tinfoil hat or not, like I think Biden has different agenda than I would like to believe. I think a lot of it he was covering up for Hunter Biden, his son, like releasing a bunch of nasty shit on his laptop, which got released anyway. We know that Fauci was in the Wuhan lab, and it's a very good possibility that he released COVID to the world. And
in all this, I haven't done my own research.
and
so I have nothing to
Pfizer's the biggest backing of that, and Biden backed Pfizer and promoted that probably the most. It's on every CNN, ABC, MSNBC. Pfizer was the number one, and Biden backed that. So to me, that just says that his morals and his where he's headed with everything, that just told me that it's not he doesn't have the right mindset. I mean, he's not even there already. He's fucking dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever. We don't even get into that. But like to me, that just says like, okay, you're what you want to do and where you're trying to help, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're doing it to hide something or to make money or to, I mean, if tinfoil hat, maybe even pay the Chinese to not release Hunter Biden's laptop to show all the dirty photos and all this, right? I mean, and you're going to sit and have Hillary Clinton back you when she was colluding with Russia the entire time and blaming it on Trump, which is, it's just shitty stuff. I mean, these things come out and they get swept under the rug, which is unfortunate that our media is bought by the big people who have a bunch of money and they get to dictate what is put out on the media, which I think is wrong, and I don't agree with it. But I've looked at things. I can't say I've looked very hard on the things that I've liked about Biden, because he gives you so many fucking things that are terrible. I mean, he can't even speak a complete sentence. I mean, he fucking stutters all the time. He's a laughing stock on social media. He's a laughing stock to every other country, like, goes and meets with Russia or China or Korea or whoever, and everyone laughs at him. No one wants to work with him, and there's usually a reason for it. But I mean, just like how he presents himself and his stuff, he just throws it out there like he's like, oh, this is the right way, and he doesn't have any facts. And I feel like he's just a puppet for people behind him, saying, hey, this is what you should do, this is what we're gonna do, and oh, read off this teleprompter because you're a fucking moron, And I just don't feel like he should be the leader of our country, and I feel like all the things that I've looked into are so wrong, like morally wrong for me and probably majority of people who have a fucking heart, that I can't support the dude. And I never will. And it's hard for me to look into like good things, but I haven't even found one that's even like scraped by that's been like, okay, well, at least you did this. Like,
He
I don't
likes
know.
puppies.
But are you approaching it?
Have you? All right, let me ask you this: have
Differently.
you guys found anything that he's done good? His Build Back Better plan is terrible. If you look actually what's in it, he put $70 billion to like daycare basically for the government. He's just taking our money.
That's where my own ignorance comes into play, because I don't honestly, I don't spend a lot of time, if any, looking into a lot of that stuff, just because
it is frustrating. I'll agree. It's frustrating.
I was gonna say, yeah, I got
as
enough
fuck,
shit
man.
going on in my day-to-day life that I'm just kind of rolling with the punches. And if I felt some type of way about it, it's not gonna change what's happening.
I know, but that's just where I want to learn as much as I can so I can spread the word, and I can maybe, change the way, like, I don't know, as many people as I can think about what's going on, because we need to change, right? And so, I don't know, people are going to agree or disagree, but if I reach like 100 people and they reach people and it expands, like, I know I can't change the world, but maybe I can in a small way and inspire other people to look into shit, even like you're saying, P, like even like do some digging yourself and to come up with your own stuff, or I can inspire people to be like, yeah, I might actually get into looking, you know what I mean?
How weird would this be though? Let's say you are digging in and you're getting involved and you're getting your opinions and your own passions about it, and let's turn around and say that your dad is the 100% Biden supporter. Like, how would that
Then we
cause
will
a rift?
battle. Oh yeah, well.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm okay with that though. I'm okay to have that. Like, obviously after tonight's podcast, like me and Bug don't agree on everything, but I still love them, dude. Like that hasn't changed. You know what I mean? Like, just because I don't agree with him doesn't mean I'd be like, hey, bro, let's go play some fucking Fortnite or whatever. You know what I mean?
So let me say this, and I wish I would have said this on the podcast, but like, I'm not going to agree with everything Biden does or did or is doing, right?
I'm still recording.
Well, that's fine.
God damn it, Bug.
That's fine. I don't care. Like
my hair's not even the same.
No, this is what my whole thing is, like, I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect person in office, because they can't, like I said before, they can't make everybody happy. And are we going to make some mistakes along the way? Of course. Are we going to pick the wrong person? Of course. Are we going to pick the right person and still have a lot of shit? Yeah. My whole thing is like, I want what you want, Brad, and I want the best that we can possibly be. And one of the things that I've challenged myself with, and I've said this a lot before, or tonight, I have started to do more research, and I tax myself with the fact that I'm not doing enough. So when I go to vote and when I go to make decisions, I have to be as informed as I possibly can to feel like my vote really does matter. Because you can just because you say every vote matters, if I'm not doing my
Yeah.
due diligence, I'm not making my vote matter, you know?
Exactly.
So
yeah, you could vote for
I'm
the
not
next
saying
dweeb, the next
I'm
Biden.
not saying, yeah, I'm not saying that I did the right or the wrong thing or whatever the case may be. And I normally don't talk politics, which is why this podcast was like a fucking whirlwind. And I wasn't prepared. And I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't prepared for this. And that's all my own fault. And I should have been, even not knowing we were going to talk about this. And that's a challenge to myself, is that I need to be better informed, and I need to be better and more sure about my stances on things and my takes on things, because at any point you could be challenged with a decision, and I have to make sure that I'm well informed across the board. And that's on me. That's what I'm not doing for not only myself, but for like the people I'm trying to impact and trying to influence. So I will agree with you,
that's
Brad, that
fine,
like,
man. I didn't do tons until honestly, like Trump, Biden, like before. I guess maybe I was young, but I didn't do it, either until the past, like, I don't know.
yeah, and
what,
and that's kind of like recently what's kind of
6,
struck
7
me up to
years.
get more into it. But it
See,
is
see, and my story was complete opposite because I didn't really pay attention a whole lot until it started affecting my immediate family, and that's when Obama came and made gay marriage legal, and I saw firsthand how much that affected multiple people in my family. And so for me, that was just like a, who's outside of politics and everything. I'm like, good, I've already seen what this person is. My regular day to day, if I wanted to get married, I can get married. If my brother wanted to get married, he couldn't get married, and that just felt wrong to me.
Yeah.
And same for my aunt, same for my, brother's husband. Like it was just it didn't feel right. I didn't do the research to it, and there's a lot of other factors that go into that, religion and everything. But I just felt that it was wrong that someone could tell him, no, you can't marry the person you love, and
Yeah.
so
Oh,
that
yeah.
happened. That was like a big victory for me. So naturally, I was, oh, Obama did that. He pushed for that, and I know he pushed for that. So I was supportive, and that's the only evidence that I had, or the only, you know, influence that I had on supporting him, because that's all it directly impacted me.
Right.
I mean, he could have fucked the economy up as
I mean,
much,
he did
and
a
I
little
would
bit.
never know.
He did a little bit,
But
but to your point, Pete, I agree. Like that's that's a great thing he did, but I feel like that's what a lot of politicians do, though, is they'll push this one agenda, and then behind the scenes they go and fuck shit up.
Yep.
There's like, hey, we're gonna fix inner city, all the schools in the inner cities, we're gonna fix all this poor economy, and we're gonna look in there, and then they never do.
it's the small print.
Yeah, and then they just do all this fucked up shit. Like I challenge you guys a little bit. If you guys go and dig into like fucked up shit that like presidents have done and past presidents, current president, whatever, dig into some stuff and you will be ashamed of what you find. And I'm not talking about like the fluffy stuff, like, I'm not saying it's a fluff like what Obama did, because that's awesome, but like the stuff that he did or promoted, like Obamacare, was one of the worst things that's came across ever. Like the stipulations to sign up for it, the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And he acted like he was curing healthcare. And honestly, like, I don't know why our president has so much power to begin with anyway. They should speak for the people, and they should agree with us. So the majority of the nation should agree and not be like, oh, well, you voted for me, so now it's you do what I say and you agree with my policies. You should do whatever the fuck the people want at any time, because we run the nation, or we should run the nation. And for it to be the opposite, I think is fucked, right? And I also think that it's split up into different houses to keep from power to being too strong, and right, which is a good thing, so we don't have a dictator. But also, like, we have to understand that the government is only there for the people, and the fact that the middle class gets fucked as often as it does, and we have to pay the most taxes. The rich don't pay any taxes because they don't own all the real estate, so they hide all their money in real estate. and write off everything so they don't have to pay any taxes, which they're smart, cool. But the middle class gets fucked and the lower class gets a bunch of free money. So in reality, we're the only motherfuckers that get fucked in all of this shit, right?
I'm
Gas
tired of being
prices.
middle class. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly, man. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to make such a, I try, but if we could make such a big change where we have a say, or we could even, we get to play ball with the big dogs because we're just on the bench at all times. We do what they say. The people who own Google and who own Facebook and who own Twitter, they get to regulate what we can and can't say. They can take down our comments. They can do whatever the fuck that they want to us, and we can't do a goddamn thing about it. And I don't think that that's fair at all. You shouldn't dictate what the fuck that I do just because you have a lot of money. And I just want to even the playing field is my goal in life. Even the playing field, give all of us motherfuckers the same, the same shit as all these dudes. Yeah, they might make a little more money. They might do this. They might have worked harder, some people, but just for the fact that you can pay people off and do this doesn't mean that we're going to get fucked at every time the gas goes up and any time that our fucking city taxes go up, anytime our houses go up, inflation. Do you think the rich motherfuckers give a fuck? Or do we just get fucked paying all the taxes? Because the middle class, in my opinion, is probably the majority. I don't know percentage, but the majority of people who pay taxes. The poor people don't pay any. The rich people don't pay any. Those are.
I do feel bad for like the 21 to 25 age group right now who's just getting out in life and they've worked their entire lives for this scenario, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere just freaking they can't even pay rent. Like I couldn't pay rent if I were to go rent a house. If I didn't buy my house 6 years ago, I couldn't buy a house right now.
No, they pay
and
rent.
I'm working the same. Yeah, but rent is way more than my mortgage right now.
For some people, did you know low income housing? Low income. Swear to God. Just found this out like 3 weeks ago. Low income housing, people are paying under $50. $50 in the state of Idaho for low income housing rent per month. Oh, buddy, I fucking wish if you make under $1,500 a month, they base it off of income or whatever, and you can pay. Travis told me, I don't mean to name drop, sorry. Dude I know told me.
That's Travis.
Dude I know told me that people that he know pay $15 a month for rent on their 1-bedroom apartment. $15. And how crazy is that? Again, possibly, but anything under $100, wild to me, right? Meanwhile, the middle
right now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the middle class, you're paying what, $1,000 to $1,500 to $2,000 in rent every month. The middle class. That's what I'm saying. The middle class gets fucked.
People if I were to buy my house right now, I would be probably paying like maybe $2,200-$2,300 mortgage easily.
Yeah.
And I'm paying my mortgage is a little over $1,000 right now for a house that is way more house than anybody right now could afford.
Yeah.
Like I'm just
and it's
Georgia's lucky, I guess.
Sucks and cool, and we get advantage of that, and we get to take equity out of our home and do what we want with it. Yes. Yeah, it sucks, but we're also getting fucked for a while. So I don't know. I think it'll even out, but I don't know. These are just my rants. And I just do it because I don't know, I guess I care about
America's
people.
frustrated.
Yeah, that's true. And
I don't want to open a can of worms, but just think of like shit ass countries that don't have a say. Like we're talking about freedoms that other countries don't even have freedoms. Completely different life.
Yeah.
And none of this is even an option for them. and we don't even think about that because that's not what we grew up in. When you go to North Korea right now, you ain't come back.
Yeah, you don't have many rights. But
So
that's
I mean,
also
it could be
why
worse.
it could be worse, and I agree, and I definitely keep maybe not that scenario in my mind, but I keep a lot of hard times in my mind. But that's also I think why I fight so hard for the shit that we do have, because I mean, if you research all this, history and everything that we've fought for, and how much we've fought in blood and sweat and tears and family members and people of this country, how hard we fought to have what we have, and I feel like we want to just give it up so easy because society says, like, oh well, if you don't agree with me, then you're fucking racist, or you're small-minded, or you're not woke, or whatever the fuck. I mean, this country was built on morals and values that we've lost so far along the way, that some of us have and a lot of us don't have anymore. And it just sucks, to be honest, that we don't think the same, or we don't hold the same values, a lot of core values that I think we should have and that mean a lot, that we don't have anymore. A lot of people died for that, and we're just throwing it away because, people want to wear a fucking furry cat suit and have a litter box at fucking school, and they want to, the media wants to tell us all that, oh, if you're white and you're this, that you're fucking racist, and and
Who the fuck is wearing a furry cat suit in a litter box?
Jesus Christ, don't look that up on TikTok. You'll be fucking offended.
Well, I won't.
My little sister told me that
litter box.
they're called like furries now, and she told me that people are like in her school, like requesting from the principal that they need a litter box because they're identifying as an animal now, and they want to wear like a furry, like a fox suit or whatever suit they want to wear, and they need a litter box because they think they're a cat or whatever the fuck. Like,
We should probably wrap this podcast up here.
Yeah, I gotta.
Like, we got.
We're going down.
It's very frustrating.
Hey,
what-
let's
keep
talk
it
furries
down.
next week.
very frustrating. What
I mean,
What
I grew
goes
up with Tamagotchis. You remember Tamagotchis?
Man,
I do. I also
How about
remember
Jinkos,
Fortress
buddy?
Key.
Jinkos.
How
Oh,
about
I still got a pair.
buddy? I know.
Couldn't
Deep
run a mile in those
pockets.
for shit.
Too deep.
Oh yeah, they're like
Now they
capris.
empty.
They're like
Thanks,
capris
economy.
for all you listeners out there who don't know. They're like long shorts, big pockets.
Yeah, I say this one is chalked. Not chalked. This one is what it needs to be.
Chico's had pockets so deep you'd put something in there and you couldn't get it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're
you
like,
have to take
what
them
the
off.
fuck
You got
is this?
short arms, hey.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
halfway to
yeah.
China by the time you got in there.
It just hit my ankle.
Seriously,
Got
you'd be up
longer
to your
arms than
you'd be up to your armpits trying to dig in your back pockets.
Oh yeah, those armpits sweating. Say that
Jesus
much.
Christ, bro.
Oh,
Leave
man.
a fucking stain.
That was the last time I wear a medium tee.
Boys,
Well.
what do we think?
Warzone?
Yeah, let's hop on Warzone. Let's lighten this up a little.
Wait,
Brad's
before-
done downloading. Oh, salud.
Yeah.
Hey,
Podcast.
I'm gonna put a little wrap to
Yeah,
this.
fuck
All right. I know Brad and I sound like we're going to head there, and P&T, Timbo, that is, gave a little extra insight, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to just be better. We're just trying to like get our next foot forward, make this country a little bit better than it was yesterday. And I can't agree with Brad on that. And I can see his passion. I can see all of our passions in that. And I will stand by someone who believes in that every single day of every single month of year, so on and so forth. So we're gonna try to make this place better. All right, the four of us and P's hairline and
Hanging in there.
Dwight Schrute and whatever he's got going on right now that you can't see. I think he belongs in a
Mental Institute.
yeah.
Yeah, let's
so,
just say I wouldn't be able to buy a gun.
but I will say, in all seriousness, we all want the same thing. Us four all want the same thing. We want to be better than we were yesterday, and we're going to disagree, and that's just because we're passionate about what we're trying to get to, and where we're trying to get this place at that we live and we call home. So love all these guys. We're all great people. We all care about this place. Agree with one of us, agree with all of us, doesn't matter. Disagree with all of us, also doesn't matter. We're trying to be there. So
yeah, we're all on the same path, right? We're all on the same value. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like same goal, right?
Yeah, same
Just
goal.
different ways
Same
to get
goal.
there. I feel like if you listen to it, I feel like you'll agree. Same goal, different paths.
All right. Till next time. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Love y'all.
I drank more.